Good, right? Good. Because
Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everylevelconcrete.com. Good morning, Matt.
Morning.
Good morning, Josh.
Hi, guys. How we doing?
Yeah, good. Probably all better than young Matt. At least Caleb threw that ball.
I don't.
That's going to keep you warm all off.
That was a good one.
I don't know. You said something on Saturday about how you were just happy to be here. You wouldn't take it that hard. A loss wouldn't mean that.
These are all
you said those
these are
things.
all true things that I did
you
say.
said them, and I told you in the moment it was absolute
BS.
Horse crap.
You told me that if they lost that game, that I was going to feel terrible, and that's something that I don't know I can experience because I haven't been there before. I remembered all those words last night at 11:15 p.m. when I was still sulking about the loss.
I should be a life coach for people that experience losing because I've been through it and I can make them mad. We could do that.
That is a great idea.
I am.
It just comes from experience.
Yeah,
you know. And
I know a lot about losing high-valued games.
It sucked.
But especially like if it, but it comes different, I think, for Matt because his team has really never been good before in his life. And he actually
this Super Bowl when he was 5, I guess.
No,
yeah.
4.
This team, that's crazy. This team gave him reason, like he liked this team, right?
Yeah.
This team gave him reason to believe that it was going to happen, even when they get to overtime. You know?
How do you lose that game? I'm thinking there. I'm like after the.
Oh, I can tell you how. We never even got into the topic I wanted to talk about.
We have it. It's coming tomorrow.
So I shouldn't go on that rant yet.
I love the rant. I'd love to hear it, but let's wait till tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's like that the play he made, Cole Kmet, and I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about the statement. That is the greatest football play I've ever seen. It is the greatest football play I've ever seen.
Ooh, which is better, that or the immaculate reception?
He sprints backwards.
If there's a statue of Caleb Williams in either one of Chicago's decrepit airports,
well, you know what?
O'Hare sucks.
O'Hare's gotten better. O'Hare's gotten so much better. I cannot stress that enough. O'Hare has improved. There's better food options. Yes, it's still like not very clean.
If you went to bat
and very
for Midway,
boring.
I was just going to sit.
No,
there and stare
Midway
at you for a
sucks.
while.
Midway sucks.
I like Midway.
Sucks.
It's a nice, fun, small
the
airport.
only thing that Midway's got going is that Harry Carey bar. They have the Harry Carey,
they have a nice
Bob's
food
bar.
court now.
Yeah,
do they? I didn't know
it
that.
should be
they
better
redid
than it is, like most large airports.
Airports are putting in food courts.
They are. But it's
Are
not
they
like
doing the grab and go.
it was designed to not be a large
no.
airport.
Well,
like it's supposed to be the smaller airport.
Well, it's small when you're crammed into their tiny little area where you're supposed to be.
But then what happened was Southwest decided to go take every flight through there ever. That every flight on their airline has to go through Midway. And so then the entire Midwest is there at one point in time.
I love it when hyperbole is true.
It's true.
No, you're forced to make the decision. Do I want to go to the St. Louis airport if I'm going east, or do I go through Chicago? Neither of which you're excited to do.
No.
But you have to make that
St.
decision.
Louis, rocking chairs. You could do that. Chicago, you can get popcorn.
Yeah, well, 2 types. You can get nuts on Clark or Garrett's. It's got to be very specific. Which, by the way, we are a Garrett's radio station.
Well, the one in Midway is Garrett's.
Who made that decision?
I made that decision. Okay. I make a lot of decisions at this radio station that you've come to find out. All right, let's talk about this.
Desks.
This is the main event here. That's not your desk.
I was given that desk.
It's not your desk. It's not your desk. All right, let's make this very clear. I love you. I've been here a year longer than you have.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'd never been assigned a desk before.
I've worked at that desk basically every day after the show because I had to do a podcast after our show.
Sure. Yeah.
I've worked at that desk every single day for the last year. I now host a midday show where it's very productive for me to sit down at a desk and work. And so that has been my desk. And I was told the other day, why are you sitting in Mike Schaefer's desk? And I was like, this is not Mike Schaefer. No, this is my desk.
Why won't
I've been
you
working
accept
at
the
that
terms
desk.
to a desk share program?
Because here's another thing too. Because then you go, well, there was nothing. You're like, why are you in Schaefer's desk? You said that to me today because I think you know
why.
Yeah, because you knew I was already upset about it.
Yes,
and
correct.
so
you shouldn't be sitting in my desk.
No, it's my desk. I've been there for a year. So Happer goes, why are you sitting in Mike's desk? And I go, this is my desk. I've been in this desk for a year. And then Happer goes, well, you haven't put anything there to establish it's your desk. I'm sorry. I thought my ass in the seat for the last year was enough to establish that is my desk. I didn't know that I had to put a little, Bears helmet or a Cubs little hat or something like that.
Helped.
That's right.
To establish that.
Can you tell which desk is my desk?
I'm sorry. I thought that doing work in your desk established that it was your desk, not some trinkets that you go ahead and you put to be like, I'm so exciting. I'm so creative.
The trinkets, if the lack of trinkets make it a perfect desk for a desk share, I would say, which it feels like neither of you guys are willing to agree to at this point.
Okay. So then I think you knew what you were doing because you put your backpack in the chair and you hadn't put your backpack in the chair the entire time you've been here.
Desk.
Okay. So you put the backpack in the chair, and knowing what I know about him, I think he told you to put the backpack in the chair.
I did not
set it up. So you put the backpack in the chair and I go, okay, wow.
This is incredible conspiracy here.
He's marking his territory. So then I go ahead and I'm like, all right, I'll take this desk. And I'm like, but there's a bunch of crap on it and it's not big enough for me to work. And then I was going to take Mike Neville's old desk, right? That's in that corner, but that's separated from everybody. And I don't like being in the
big
annex.
Wall.
There's a massive wall there and it's a weird angle. And so I'm walking around like there's no other desk for the afternoon guy, except that's my desk. It's not his desk. It's my desk.
And just to be clear, you guys are not using the desk at the same time at any point in the day.
Interesting point.
He doesn't need a desk. He comes here.
You're not coming back at 2:30.
He comes here at 6.
I'm just waiting for him to finish so I can explain how this was my desk.
But your point, Matt, was from before was that you used the desk when you were a morning show host to work and do things. Wouldn't the same apply to Mike?
Do you sit in that desk and work and do things after the show?
I probably will.
You haven't before.
Yeah. You know how long I've been here?
6 days.
You know how long you were here? A year. You know who knew that was your desk? Literally no one.
That's crazy. It's
Literally no
like
one
somebody.
knew it was your desk.
I got so mad at somebody.
Do you know
when
how
they
I
were like,
ended up with that desk? The person who apparently signs desks, which is a role here at NRG.
By the way,
it's Chris. He claimed the one desk for Computer Graveyard.
I didn't even want the desk that I was given. I wanted a different desk.
Yeah, I was going to say another thing too. What gives him the right to assign desks
He just
here
does
and tell
things.
Schaefer whose desk is
Here's
whose
what
desk?
happened. So I go to the person whose job it is to assign desks, and he says, "All right, we'll get you a desk." And we come down here, and I'm like, "I kind of want this desk," and he's like, "No." I don't understand, but I was told no, whatever.
It's hard to understand.
He takes me over to the area where I don't want the desk. And he's like, what about this one? And I was like, whatever. And then he opens it up and there's nothing signifying that this
Why does
desk
there
would have
need to
belonged
be anything
anybody.
signifying that it's my desk? I've worked
come
Do you know
on.
what signifies it? Me working there.
Come on, like
You
but
know
once
how
again.
that's not signified because no one thought that you worked
I
there.
swear to God.
Matt,
I
look at
thought-
everybody
I-
else's desk. You could tell.
I
know,
thought the other day, I swear to God, I
Gotta be
mean
lived
this.
in.
I thought the other day, wow, I probably should like pack a little baggie full of like, things that are meaningful to me and start decorating my desk. Because here's the thing. It was one
doesn't
of those,
even have to be that. I just put garbage crap on there.
I know.
That's
but,
how I signify it.
But like as an afternoon host, I need to have the desk more than the morning show host. Because I literally sit
but
there
this
and
is-
prep.
You're not
Look at
even
all.
This is not. You are taking the wrong angle. You're taking the wrong angle.
Well, what?
You
I've
don't
taken all
have
the angles.
You don't have more of a claim to a desk just because of the day part that you host. This
Okay.
is not a factor.
Okay,
This
fine.
is not a
I
factor.
think the factor that I worked there for a whole year
that should be your
is
angle.
it has been my angle.
but his
you're-
return angle is nobody could tell
Yeah,
because
but
he didn't have
literally
anything
the
else.
desk-
BS. I've been sitting there the whole year working there.
Throw a Beanie
Did
Baby
you-
on there. You're good.
That's what I said. I was excited to decorate it.
Well,
Did
didn't
you go
happen.
talk to the desk assigner and like this is where I work?
Yes,
Mr. Desk?
He told me, "Why are you sitting in Schaefer's desk?" And I go, whose desk? I go, whose? And he goes, Schaefer. I go, this is mine. He goes, oh, I didn't know, is what he told me. He's like, it's Schaefer's desk. I was like, no, it's not. It's mine. It's my desk. And then Alyssa,
I'm happy to give you that desk and take a different desk. I just want to point out, at no point would anyone ever have thought it was your desk.
Alyssa writes, the desk across from Schaefer's is open. Here's the thing.
That's also true.
It's not necessarily about desk being open and available. It's more about the principle of I worked there and now I don't want to be uprooted.
So
and
this
moved.
is about squatting and squat.
It's about squatters' rights. I think it's just rights.
Hold on. But you said the word uprooted, which once again, to reaffirm, there's nothing on the desk that would signify that it's yours.
What, once again?
So you
what
could just
signifies
as
that it's
easily move to the other open desk, which is a mere feet away from that desk.
not even feet.
It's actually connected to that desk.
I think, Matt, you got to go Greenland on this one and just take Connor's desk with all his trinkets, all his stuff. Just no. This is mine now.
I almost did sit in your desk. I got actually.
You could sit there. I don't care.
I got really annoyed today by myself when Schaefer's backpack was in the chair.
My favorite part about this is you thought there was a literal conversation between Happer and I about what we could do to annoy you and your alleged death.
Do you think it's unfair for me to think that there are plots against me? Because there totally are.
Just
and
because you
there
got trolled
definite-
once by Austin, who is a great jokester. We love Austin.
And there have been plots against me to annoy me because you guys know how to push my buttons, which is my fault because I've exposed that
You make
to everybody.
the buttons very exposed.
Very exposed.
Yeah.
So
Pretty
yeah,
much like the giant easy button. Like that's
honestly, I feel like I'm like Darth Vader, where the pack is just right on my chest, and you can see all the buttons. And hey, if I push this one, I'm gonna piss him off.
Mhm.
I'm pretty
Just
sure
like when Schaefer
Darth
goes,
Vader's desk would have had something signifying that it was his desk. I mean,
Like an I Hate Mondays mug.
Instead, there's an empty placard. There's just a bunch of crap on it that got moved to the other desk that he claims he can't take because there's crap on it.
be like
There
a
was
mod,
stuff in a drawer that wasn't yours that like was from 2019 or later.
like a
There was
smaller.
random pictures of a golf hole that Chris threw away.
What would be on Darth Vader's desk? Like a smaller Death Star model, or all the models of the.
I don't
Death
know what
Star.
Darth was all about.
Death.
Oh, really?
But
Yeah, and
I am
choking
happy
people.
to give you that desk back.
Give me, it's mine. It's not. You're not giving me anything. You're not doing
This
me.
is
a
why we'll
favor.
never
already
be
lost it because it's been assigned to me.
Once again. I just cannot believe that there needed to be something on there that signified that it was my desk, other than my ass being in the chair.
But no one thought that was there either.
It
We
was
both-
there.
We all suggest that you go talk to Mr. Desk.
Why does Mr. How did he become Mr. Desk?
He just makes decisions. I
Yeah.
don't know. He does. I can't explain.
He
it.
takes a lot of those managerial jobs that nobody wants to do. They're like, okay, you want to assign the desk? Great. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Assign the desk.
And now he's Mr. Desk.
And I was certainly not looking for a fight when I was like, "Hey, I'd like a desk."
But I think you revel in it. I think you love
I
that it's
didn't even know
happening
it was
now.
yours until
I
you
think-
put your
I think-
sunglasses
I
there
think-
for the first time.
I think
ever.
you're saying I think that's a BS statement because you're like I wasn't I wasn't looking for a fight, but you can't act like as if you're not happy that there's a fight going on.
Well,
about
now
it.
that it's my desk, I need to.
It's
protect
not
it.
your
He just
desk.
said he was willing to move to the other desk.
But once again, it's all about principle here.
Yeah,
It's
we will
not-
never reach a
It's
connection.
not
You
necessarily.
don't want me to leave.
No. I don't want you to say you're giving me the desk.
Well, it was-
You're not giving me the desk.
He's
You are just
taking the desk.
no. You're just moving.
It's my desk.
It's it's been mine. It will be mine.
No one besides you ever thought it was your desk.
But because I guess enough people don't work here to see all the hard work I was putting in at that desk for the
Well,
last year.
Well, I think some of it is that nothing on the desk indicated that
Why?
hard work was being
Once
done.
again, ass in the seat should be above all to indicate that I am doing a lot of. And by the way,
Check the tapes. I don't know.
I would check with the desk assigner to see.
What are you looking at?
I just can't. I You're just throwing pieces of paper into the fire.
I
It's ridiculous.
I honestly didn't know either.
Also, too, I'm surprised that you think I have a bad point with me being the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. host now, because
I don't get what makes you more entitled to it.
But
for
here's
that
why:
reason.
you came in at 9 o'clock every day, and you sat at a desk, right? And
Not mine, actually. I have my desk, but I actually went into the producer studio to hang out with my producer friends.
But like we would so the last 5 days when you guys have prepped and done work, when you've prepped and done work, you've done it in the studio. I'm assuming, right? You've come to the studio, you sit down, you put your computer open, you do work.
Well, actually,
in here.
I came here today and put my book bag down at my desk, and then brought my stuff into the studio.
No, I don't have much to do in the morning.
And then at my desk, I have already in there, even though I haven't been there that long, I have in there an extra set of headphones, a phone charger, things that I would like to have here, because the whole point of having it
Which,
is
by the way,
so I can store stuff.
Yeah.
So if I need it, that's the point.
Here's
another
angle to all of this too. Another add a little layer. Okay. The position you're in now, right? The new morning show host sitting in that seat.
Thank you.
I was in that seat a year ago. I'm what you went through.
Deskless.
Yeah. Thank you, Happer.
Thank
you.
Now,
That's-
did you at
I
any
never
point go ask them for a desk?
that's but
No,
did you
that's what
ask
didn't happen.
did you ask them for a desk?
He
Yeah.
did.
I literally did.
Yeah.
That's how I ended
He goes,
up.
I
at
want a
that
desk.
I
And remember
don't-
he
I-
asked for computer
I-
graveyard, and Chris said no.
I can't-
And then he got
So
that
now
one.
I'm just gonna end up with computer
recant
graveyard.
I don't recant asking for a desk, but being where you were a year ago, I was never given a desk, and I'm a little annoyed by that. Why
You
didn't
didn't
they
ask.
think
I wasn't given a desk.
you were
Actually, I
given
was,
you were given
because
a
I
desk?
asked for the desk.
He requested a desk.
And then when I had the desk, I put my stuff inside the desk, signifying that it was a desk.
Okay,
That
well, you
was
can
mine.
take that stuff out and you can put it in another desk.
Yeah, I'll give
because
you my
it's
desk.
mine.
I will just
You're
go-
not. No.
I will go back
no,
and find a
No,
different desk.
you're not giving it to
Wow,
me.
not
It was never yours. It was never
I
yours.
don't understand what you want from me.
what do we got in the comments? Anybody opining on any of this?
Sindelar said something funny. He goes, "Oh boy, now Matt is getting paranoid of the very imaginary but real plots against him."
Let's become aware.
well written.
I just love that you thought Happer and I would spend the energy to determine how to rile you up, as if that was even necessary.
Bigelow
coming off of yesterday.
Bigelow writes, "Chris Prudesk."
Mr. Desk.
Mr. Desk.
Yeah, that's him.
This is my desk. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Matty Football.
There were a couple of Full Metal Jacket references in there.
Good one. Have you spark notes that one yet?
No, the only reason I know that quote is because it's a part of Rich Eisen's power rankings. He like has that drop.
Amazing.
He's like,
First half of that movie.
there
was
are many,
excellent.
there are many things, but this one is mine. You know, there are many like it, but this one is mine. That's the only
They
reason
just
I know
repeat
that.
it a lot.
Like, I found
Says my
out about
rifle.
the Ocean's 11 drop. You know, should we get? You think we need another one? Let's have one. Or you think we need one
more.
more? Yeah, you think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more. I didn't watch Ocean's 11 before I heard
You
that
should watch
drop.
Ocean's.
Oh,
Eleven.
Ocean's
when
11's
I-
pretty good.
I did eventually watch it. It's a
Oh,
good
okay,
movie.
okay.
When I vacate, my
haven't seen
desk-
Ocean's 12 or 13 yet, though. I heard that 13
mandatory.
was
Ocean's
kind
12 is Garbo.
Yeah, is that the one where they're like the rival against, like they're stealing the same thing?
I don't know. I
don't remember.
I don't think so.
I remember
Is
it was
that-
bad.
is it-
13's
Is
fine.
that the one with the guy through all the lasers? Isn't that Ocean's 12 where he jumps through all the lasers to steal that egg?
Maybe.
See, I've spark notes that movie.
Yeah.
I've spark notes Ocean's 12.
My
Not if it's
son has
13.
commented
Hello.
via proxy. Matt, your 6-year-old baby brother is annoyed at the arguing. Whose desk is it?
It's a great question.
It's mine. It's mine. All right.
All right, so I will give you back the desk.
No. You're not
But
giving
I'm
me
taking
anything.
the chair with me
You're
to the
not-
next desk.
You are.
Oh,
the
will you take the
chair.
trade?
Oh.
Whoa. How am I trading something that I already own? It's my desk
That's how
already.
trades
Yeah,
work.
that's
No
true.
one, no one thinks it's yours. It's like when you're claiming bits that you didn't start.
Well, that was the whole bit. The bit was to claim bits that weren't mine. So
you're
I didn't.
claiming desks. Now we're moving beyond.
But they
bits
were
to-
mine. That's the thing.
Is it
You're
all
saying I'm
material?
claiming something that wasn't mine. It was mine the whole time.
No one thought it was yours.
I'm not trading you anything. I'm not giving you a chair, or I'm not allowing
Well,
you
I'm
to
not-
say that I gave Matt his
I'm
desk.
not expecting anything in return. I'm giving you the desk out
That's
of
a
just
good.
being a
That's
friend.
a good trade.
And I'm just taking the chair with me to the next desk.
I shouldn't have lost anything
because it was all mine to begin with.
Well, you never had any.
You didn't lose anything.
No, I'm
I
losing the
believe
chair.
cash consideration.
That chair is nice.
This is a great deal for you, Matt.
No, it's not. I'm losing the chair when the chair is mine the whole time.
You're
Oh,
getting
we
the
got
desk.
chairs.
You
Don't
never
worry.
even had the desk.
You got to stop arguing. You got to stop trading on principle. This is really, I mean, you really
Everything.
just got to.
Wait. Everything is principle.
You're like Matt Rule.
Everything's principle.
Matt Rule just arguing with other people for the sake of arguing.
We have standards, okay?
not
There
a
are,
reset.
You
there are
had that
standards.
desk for a year,
Yes.
and you had nothing in there to signify that anyone was occupying the desk.
But why do I have? Once again, the point always comes back to
I just got a text from a friend. I can't believe they've been arguing about this desk for 20 minutes.
That's right.
I'm enjoying it.
it. Just move. Just leave. Just leave.
Whoa.
Just leave my desk.
Just
Just
leave.
leave.
I've already
Just
offered
leave.
to vacate my desk to you.
But I have to give you my chair. I don't want to give you my chair.
Well, yeah, I'm taking the chair.
Why are you taking the chair?
I need a chair.
All right, I'll just take it back. It doesn't matter. We can share the
that
chair.
works. Yeah, we don't. That's fine.
Hashtag share the chair.
I knew that we would end up in a desk share of some sort.
A chair share.
A chair share,
Yeah,
a
and
desk share.
Connor Happer over there with that S-seating grin, knowing that he gets the nice little fancy corner desk, that's kind of right in that. It's
No, I'm trying to
nestled
think.
in a nice
here
little
half a decade.
area.
Yeah, was I assigned?
Half a decade. He's been here for 4 years. All right. Half a decade's wild.
Yeah, it was probably about 4 years ago today where I left my trunk open and I got a company-wide email that said, "Hey, your trunk's open."
Why'd you leave your
That was
trunk open?
embarrassing for me.
Anyone know whose car this is?
It was an accident.
Why'd you leave your trunk?
And the email, so I'll have to go back and find the email. It was like, "Hey, this is the second day this week that this car's trunk has been left open."
Hey, so my thing is losing keys, and your thing has now become you leave your trunk open.
Not anymore. I fixed the problem.
What was the
We
problem?
He
fixed
got
the glitch.
publicly embarrassed one time and said never again.
Yep.
Yeah, I got publicly embarrassed, and then I said I won't do this again. And then some sleazy little fill-in host decided to buy
I
a
found
Monster Energy drink, open it up,
Chuck
and
still has the email.
Yeah, everyone makes fun of me for only having 4 emails in my inbox, and I tell you I can search for things, and they're like, "Oh no, you can't." Well, here it is, January 4th, 2022, 11:54 a.m. Hello, if you drive a black, we'll say Chevy.
I don't have that car
Yeah, you
anymore,
don't have
yeah.
that car anymore. Black Chevy with license plate, blah blah blah. Your trunk is open. We closed it. This is the second time this has happened. You might want to check your key fob.
And I was like, "Oh no!" These people probably think I'm the biggest idiot ever.
see, here's the thing, though.
It was my third day, and it said the second time this week, January 4th. We started on January 2nd. It was Wednesday, and it was the second time of the week that it happened already.
The annoyance in the tone of that email is incredible.
Who was that from?
That was from Emily.
And
Damn
then,
it.
like, it just makes me think about when you're somewhere and it comes over the loudspeaker that a car's vehicle's lights are on, and she's like, "God, I hope it's not mine. I hope it's
Oh,
not
that
mine."
matches-
It's never
that
been mine.
matches- that
It's
matches.
never been mine
Damn
at
it.
any point.
I never thought it would be me either. And then apparently I accidentally hit my trunk button on my key fob twice in 1 week.
See, but at
Thing is,
least
you didn't have anything embarrassing in the trunk.
at least when you
That
didn't-
is true.
yeah, at least you didn't have like a dead body in there or something.
At least I didn't have a dead body. That's true. Or at least I probably have my
It'd be-
golf clubs back there. I'm
it'd be
surprised nobody
problematic.
took them out of there.
At least when you like make silly little mistakes like that, it's just a company-wide email, and it's not, "Oh, we're going to tweet about it and make fun of him and turn it into all these bits."
Which
because,
one's worse?
Because that's what happened to me.
Ooh,
Anytime I tripped over, made a mistake, we all had to put it on Twitter.
me say, Matt.
I had a bad parking job tweeted out on Twitter. I left bottles places tweeted out on Twitter. I left my keys somewhere. Everybody had an opinion on it. But you do little mistakes,
I
and
had
we're
an
all like,
opinion on
"Oh, haha."
yeah, but the
Fix your
keys
key
one
fob.
became a problem for everyone.
It was systemic.
Yeah. that was not just a cute little isolated issue. That became an issue for everyone.
I lost money out of it. So
He
Uber's-
came in to get his desk back, and he leaves with a bunch of things to work on.
I got my desk back. And first off, not get my desk back. My desk is my desk. My ass is in the chair.
All right, well,
Just got another text.
Mm.
Just waiting on McMaster to waste a timeout so he could argue with the desk refs. Classic Matt Rule. Crap! We didn't get to play it on time because I was too busy arguing with the refs.
What is the radio equivalent of a third quarter timeout?
defensive
Great
timeout?
question.
Yeah.
4-minute segment.
I haven't taken a timeout yet on this show because Josh doesn't argue with me. But I tried. I like forcing bits, I think you know that. I like to really ram it down there. And one of the bits I was trying to force was taking timeouts during the show when I was getting interrupted. But that never really stuck,
So what was how
I
was
would
that
go,
gonna go?
I would go timeout, and then I would always say I have 2 left, but that was never, we had one show where I took 2 timeouts,
Yeah.
and I was waiting for somebody to say, hey, you have 1 timeout left, but they didn't,
Yeah, keep doing it. You never know.
Yeah,
Do you have a
but
challenge system in here? Was that part of it?
You know
Did
what? That
risk
would be
one of your
replay
timeouts?
assist.
that would be a great bit if Josh did that. If he went back and looked at the tape,
Check the tape.
check the
That
tape,
would be
Check the
replay
tape to
review.
see if you've ever actually been in that desk.
right.
I have been in that desk. Alyssa, who has the gall to step in this chat but not defend me.
She knows about the things that go on.
She saw me in that desk multiple times.
What did
and
she
yet
say?
She hasn't said a word. All she said earlier was something about it, and then
You
not.
probably saw the desk get assigned by me by the desk assignment.
And she definitely saw an email sent out by Emily
feel like
4
your
years
anger
ago.
is
Yeah,
misplaced
she goes.
at me.
Alyssa, who's seen me work in that desk so many times, goes, the desk across from Schaefer's is open. Okay, she doesn't say, yeah, Matt's totally right. He's been in that desk for the last year. I've seen him work in there.
They
I've seen him.
probably updated the desk chart upstairs. Have you not went and
Oh,
looked at
yeah.
this?
The
I
desk
just feel kind of hoodwinked that you got assigned a desk and I didn't. Here's another text. Who
Got a
texted
tweet
you?
from Jacob Padilla.
Ha!
Glad to know that all you need to do to claim something is sit in or on it. Gonna go sit on top of my boss's really nice car today.
It was so. How am I getting clowned for this? Me working in
think
the
it's pretty
desk and me
obvious.
sitting in the chair and me doing work and trying to make money for the company is not satisfied enough for me to officially have a desk. I get, but what is satisfied enough is I have to put a mug down.
It sounds like
That's
you
right.
just need a surface somewhere flat that you can put your computer to
How
work.
about like a table calendar? Like a
Table
Oh,
calendar.
yeah, one
Yeah.
of those desk calendars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or like a little
I
globe
swear
or
to God,
something.
I swear to God, if I come to the office tomorrow and there's one of those like foldable like little tables that you eat on so you can watch TV while eating, if that's in our office, I'm gonna flip my crap.
Okay.
Interesting.
Good.
Sounds like you're
You've-
setting this up.
Yeah,
No.
you've left yourself
Yeah.
vulnerable
No.
yet again.
Because I'll see it and I'll kick it over and I'll break it and then I'll walk to my desk and I'll sit down and I'll work in it.
All right, now I'm considering just taking the offer off the table. with how you're
There's
at.
no offer. It's not yours. It's
It
mine.
is. I was assigned it.
You guys, yeah, we can move on.
6-year-old
Desk thing.
says that Connor is the boss and he gets to decide.
Whoa.
All right.
Considering how finicky he feels about Connor, this is a bold statement.
Yeah,
Thank you. This is Josh's son.
that is.
Excellent.
Does he refer to himself in second person?
No, this is from the proxy.
No, this
Yeah.
This is from
yeah.
the proxy.
Now Alyssa has jumped in here again.
Yeah, no,
Interesting.
she is. She goes not to add to the chaos, but I'm going to be super problematic and lie. Is what
I've
Alyssa's
only seen
saying.
Matt sit in a production studio, Zone studio, or the Zone office. Yeah, you don't like own the Zone studio because you're sitting there.
Wow.
But I've
Many men have
this
sat
is
in
how-
a chair.
I don't make the rules
Many
about
men.
desk, but I feel like the rules about desk
it
is
sure
if you
seems
work
like you're
there and
trying to
sit in
dictate
there.
it.
Many men have sat in that chair before,
Many men.
and you have no respect for any of them.
That's not true at all. I have an utmost respect for the men. Literally, the first segment of this show was about having an incredible amount of respect for this chair.
I'm glad you respect something.
This is, would you consider this is my spot because I'm sitting in this spot?
Just in between the hours of 10 and 2,
Yes. And so
you share it with others.
you
Desk
can have,
share.
You can have the
Ruled.
chair.
Desk share.
You can have the chair.
All right.
Just talk to Mr. Desk. He'll get you squared away. All right. I think the crossover is
Happy
ended.
New Year, everybody.
Oh, this will be good to hear back at the end of the
Happy
year.
New Year.
Remember
This
that one
was-
day they
see if
argued?
We'll see if Matt spends the entire year putting anything that would denote that space would be a desk.
You'll hear
So
this
that-
on January 1st of next year. Oh my God, he still has nothing on that desk.
This is our first Happy New Year.
We
Very
can put a
good
little,
job,
quick little
everybody.
PS at the end of it.
It's going to be funny because
I even took Severe's nameplate because it had my initials and put it over there just to let people know that this desk was in use.
Travis goes, has Matt done a desk pop at said desk?
You got to do the desk pop. Have you Spark Notes that movie?
I've seen that movie. Aim for the bushes, baby.
Okay, good.
There we go.
Aim for the Bill bushes.
Nice.
So, all right. That was Crossover, which was powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Middays with Matt is up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy! But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt here on 1620 The Zone. Matt Master with Josh Odson with you until 2 o'clock here. Loaded weekend of NFL football. I am sad.
You're sad. Why are you
I'm
sad? Is it the desk thing?
No, it's not the desk. I actually do kind of feel bad now a little bit because I don't know if Mike was doing it on purpose, but now he's very loud outside about how he's got to move desks and he's got to figure, he's got to put things in different places and whatnot. And now I feel a little bit like You know, I moved a man, but at the same time, I didn't move a man. It was my spot the whole time. He was misinformed. No, I'm not sad about that.
Okay.
Chicago Bears lost yesterday. We will talk about it.
Oh, yeah, that.
Hey, there's mixed feelings, Josh Odson, of it sucked that it happened, but I'm happy that we got there. Like, I'm happy I was able to experience it. I will say this, one of the greatest sport moments of my life happened yesterday, and we will talk about how incredible that moment was. Do you know what's not incredible for some people, in particularly Sean McDermott not having a job? He got fired today from the Buffalo Bills. We'll talk about Sean McDermott. Do you feel bad for him? Did he deserve it?
Takes.
A lot of people have takes on that. I mean, you know, we'll talk about the interesting, I guess, the double-edged sword of having a quarterback, because you can win a bunch of games as a head coach, but if you have a great quarterback, that's awesome. And you're like, hell yeah, I need a great quarterback to win football. But when you have one, they get all the credit and you don't. It's like, are you really a good coach, or did you just have Josh Allen? Hell, we did that with Bill Belichick. People still do that with Bill Belichick, who won 6 Super Bowls. We go, was he really that good, or was it just Brady? So we'll have that discussion. The Houston Texans. All right, so I'm gonna plant this right now. The Houston Texans, as of about an hour and a half ago, I have to see if Diana Rossini has updated.
Yeah, do we have an update on this story? This is kind of important.
The Houston Texans are still in New England. I don't know if you know, but I mean, they got a lot of connecting flights they got to make to Cancun and Cabo. Definitely not Disney World.
Well, you probably go to Houston first.
You got it, yeah. But
get a different bag.
You could probably, go to Houston and then go home. I mean, how quick of a turnaround do you think you could land in an airport and then get back to an airport to take a flight? How long do you think that would take you? If you landed somewhere, how long would it take you to land in Eppley Airfield, go home, pack a new bag, and then go back to Eppley? That's a great question.
Couple hours.
Whoa!
But just because I would mosey. I would not.
Are you a fast packer?
I find myself packing with not a lot of time left on the clock, if that's what you're asking.
I was gonna hope you were gonna say no. I don't feel like I'm on green. I don't feel like a fast packer.
Fast packer.
No, I'm a very quick packer. Now here's the hack for me. I have a
pack hack.
No, here's a pack hack. I always just have a rotating. I always make sure I have that little toiletry thing with all the travel size shampoos and toothpaste.
Okay.
And I have a separate toothbrush for traveling.
Sure.
Like I have a home toothbrush and a travel toothbrush. I always keep the toiletry bag packed at all times. Keep that thing on me.
It's like a mini go bag.
Exactly. Just boom, put it in there. I'm gone. I feel like I could, if I landed in Eppley Airfield, I could make a flight an hour and a half later.
Wow.
So I only live 10 minutes from the airport.
I just wouldn't want to.
So the Houston Texans are stuck in New England, which is the story. I'm looking for an update. I have not found one. So we'll see what occurs with them. But at the same time, here's what I want from everybody listening. 4295, well, not yet, but email us at matt@1620thezone. Josh O at 1620thezone. Email us and tweet at us your biggest travel nightmare story. I want to hear everybody, just like certain holes in your body, everybody's got one. Everybody's got a travel nightmare story. Everybody has I was stuck on the tarmac for 7 hours. They didn't move. There was a crying baby. Everybody's got that. So tweet at us, email us, tell us your travel nightmare story. We're going to read them and we're going to react to them. We're also going to tell our own, because I've actually been pretty lucky in terms of my travel. I haven't really been delayed a whole lot or anything like that. I would say, though, the worst thing that happened to me was that my flight got delayed for 3 hours, which is not that long. There are other people where it's like you got to sleep on the floor and everything, but they put us on the plane. Don't put me on the plane.
Oh.
They put us on. So we were sitting on the plane for 3 hours.
And then we're ready to go when it's our turn.
They even told us, they go, all right, hey, we're not going to deboard the plane, but you can get off the plane and then you can come back on if you want to stretch your feet or whatever. So I get off the plane and I go to the bar. 5 minutes later, they told me to get back on the plane. I was like, what was the point of this? So that's the worst thing happened to me. What's the
Whoa.
worst thing that happened to you? Email us, tweet at us. We'll read them. We'll have a good time with it. Matt Rule said a lot of things. Matt Rule always says
Imagine that. Yeah.
a lot of things. But I believe that interview was on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, on Sports Nightly, and he had a lot to comment on the running back room, his special teams unit, Mike Eckler, him leaving and all that stuff. So he had a lot to say, some of which I agreed with, which it seemed like a lot of people disagreed with many of the things that he said. I actually kind of agreed with a lot of what he talked about. There were other ones where I was like, all right, cut the crap. Cut the crap. There were some moments where it seemed like he was kind of putting sugar on bull crap and telling me it's a brownie. That's not great. But
Can't believe Matt Rule would do that.
Yeah, but there were other moments where I was like, okay, I don't fully disagree with you there. I think you kind of have a point. So we'll talk about that. Nebraska men's basketball went to Evanston. I told everybody you had nothing to worry about. You had nothing to worry about.
I watched that game. You were right. Northwestern, bad.
They are so bad. It's Nick Martinelli and nobody else. They don't know what they're doing. They're actually play some pretty good defense, but they were discombobulated. That spread was a 4.5 in favor of the Huskers. That was free money. Absolutely free money. If you've been watching those games, you knew that was going to happen. Huskers are now, it's crazy. They are now 18-0. They very well. I mean, so they got to play Washington next, which
one of Andy Katz's biggest games of the week.
That could be interesting. And Washington will need to win that game. And then I think the real trap game is going on the road to play Minnesota at the Barn. The Barn has been awesome this year. It has been raucous. It's been loud. Minnesota is a team where they beat NU on the road, and they ended up pulling it off against Iowa at home. That was a big win. But they've played some really, really close games. They're not necessarily they're not the best team in the Big Ten, but that is a game where you got to be careful of them. You got to be wary of them. I would say that, Creighton went on the road and they played Providence, and people were like, hey, Providence is 8-9 and they're 87th in the net, and they've lost 5 games in a row in the Big East, but you got to be kind of aware of that game. That game could get you. That's kind of how I feel about the Minnesota game. That game could get them. And then still, though, we've kind of said this over and over again this year about that game. This certain game can get the Huskers and it could break the winning streak, and then they end up winning those games. They very well could end up being 20-0 heading on the road to Michigan, which would be an absolutely insane game. The AP poll will come out later today. I think the Huskers will be 6th. I think they deserve to be in the top 4, in my opinion. But I think the AP voters will be a little bit conservative here and go ahead and put them down at 6. And so we'll see. I'll check bracket matrix. I haven't done that today. And I'll tell you where the Huskers are at. I'm assuming at this point they're a 2 seed. They're probably just solidly a 2 seed everywhere. Then there are probably some people who are like, no, they should be a 1. So Creighton went on the road. They lost to Providence. We will talk about that for a little bit. We'll probably do a dual Creighton Nebraska segment, go from each team. There is something to talk about from that game. And we had a very intense Blue Jay overtime with a lot of callers having a lot of opinions of what occurred. And so we will touch on that. Was it a roster construction problem? Was it a coaching problem? Is it what's the issue with Creighton losing that game? It was one of those things where Providence kind of just did a lot of the stuff that Creighton is just not built to do. And Oswin, the big center for Providence, had 9 offensive rebounds against Creighton, and that was kind of their demise. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Sean McDermott, talk about the Houston Texans, talk about the Bears, talk about just in general, Seattle stomping the San Francisco 49ers, the Broncos. So I saw the line. I don't know if it's still, I saw it last night. I'll check if it moved. 4.5 was the opening line for the Patriots versus the Broncos. I don't know. That seems like the type of line where you're like, Vegas knows something I don't, and I hate it, and I'm not going to bet it. Is Jarrett Stidham going to be the next Nick Foles? I mean, that's what people are trying to convince you. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it'll be wildly interesting to see what the Broncos look like. Keep in tune with everything else going around in the world of sports. We got a loaded show. We're touching everything. NFL, college football, college basketball. The national championship is tonight. I'm a dummy. I forgot to mention that too. We'll have takes. We'll have opinions. We'll talk about all of that stuff. Hi, Mike Schaefer. Coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Chandler Conway.
Have you been injured in an accident? You shouldn't have to fight with insurance companies or deal with medical bills alone. You need an experienced injury lawyer who'll protect your rights while you focus on healing. At Chandler Conway, our team understands the legal process and will handle your case with dedication. Our goal is simple: to secure the compensation you deserve. Call us today or visit chandlerconway.com for a free consultation. Don't face this challenge alone. Let us support you every step of the way.
The Ruth will soon be joined by the Bill. The existing women's indoor practice gym will have a new neighbor in the 50,000 square foot Creighton Sports Performance Center. The Bill is part of the $300 million Fly Together project, which will totally transform the Jays athletic facilities. It will feature strength and conditioning, dining, academic, sports medicine, and psychology services for Creighton's 300 student athletes. The Bill and the already existing Ruth are named for Bill and Ruth Scott, longtime Omaha philanthropists who have donated millions of dollars through the years to Creighton University.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Looking at the bracket matrix. You like bracket matrix, Josh Otson?
I do. Yes, it's very helpful.
It is incredibly helpful. How you can see the highs and the lows and everything like that. So Nebraska, according to some brackets, is a 1 seed. Their lowest seeding is a 3 seed. According to Bracket Matrix, their average seed, or I don't know if it's it's average seed is what it is a 2.08. Okay, so they are on the 2 line. They play their next game against Washington on Wednesday. Tip off for that game 8:00. That's at home at Pinnacle Bank Arena. It's been an awesome season for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. AP poll comes out later today, so we will see where Nebraska ends up kind of fitting into the AP poll, which, I mean, the AP poll is fun. It's not necessarily, I mean, I don't want to call it useless. You know, it's not useless, but I mean, it doesn't, the net ranking affects more, you know, and where other kind of experts were looking at the things that the committee looks at to place these guys, that kind of matters more. According to Joe Lenardi, Nebraska is a 2 seed. They would be in Oklahoma City playing North Dakota State. So it'd be projecting NDSU to go ahead and win the Summit League and then play the Huskers in Oklahoma City. Guess who would be So dude, this would be insane, Josh Hodson. So
Okay.
the Huskers are projected to play Oklahoma or North Dakota State. If they were to win that game, they would play the winner of UCF and Texas A&M.
Oh no.
That would be perfect. That would be script writers galore.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
I love
Really?
it's great about A&M, this mini little rivalry that started because it stems from Trev Alberts going to Texas A&M, becoming their athletic director, while he was the AD at Nebraska. But it also is just worked out in such a funny way that it just seems like in every sport, Nebraska's been playing A&M. They played in women's basketball. They played in men's basketball. They played in volleyball. Be incredible if A&M was in Oklahoma City with the potential for Nebraska to avenge a terrible loss that they had to them 2 years ago in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And then UCF. Come on. I don't need to tell you anything about that. To get to the Sweet 16, you got to beat UCF. So that'd be a lot of fun. So AP poll, I believe, comes out at I think it's at 12. Does it come out or 11? I think it's at 12 Eastern.
I believe I think the women's is at 11 and the men's is at 12.
Okay.
I could be way off on that.
Let me look this up. I'm almost positive it's at 12. Yeah, it's at 12. So we will talk about that. They'll probably end up being like 6, but they play Washington on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. All righty. Let's talk about the NFL playoffs. And I'm going to talk about my Chicago Bears, and then I will tell you that I will relate it back to the Nebraska football team because there are a lot of similarities between Nebraska football and Nebraska football. There are a ton. First off, the passionate fan bases, right? I mean, Nebraska is a football state, right? I mean, we love our basketball here. We love our volleyball here. We love all the other sports here. I think this state does an incredible job of giving a lot of attention towards a ton of different teams and a ton of different athletes. But at the end of the day, this is a football state. And it's the same with Chicago, where there's a lot of great historical teams in the city of Chicago. But at the end of the day, it does not matter if you're a Cubs fan or a Sox fan. It's a Bears town. And both Nebraska football and the Chicago Bears have had proud histories that you can look back on fondly and have a ton of great memories about and reminisce about and talk about so many great players, right, on both of those teams. And, but at the same time, the last 15 years for both franchises, both programs have been incredibly underwhelming. Incredibly underwhelming. And really just disappointment after disappointment. And I think it's funny, Josh Hodson, like we joke about Nebraska football being the offseason champions of college football year in and year out.
It's not a joke. It's a trademark. We've won it each of the last 12 years.
The last 4 years, that has been the joke with the Chicago Bears, that the Bears have been the offseason champions, right? Dating back to
incredible.
Like Matt, when they went ahead and traded for DJ Moore and Justin Fields was the quarterback. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, this is the year that Fields and the Bears are going to make a jump and they're going to be frisky and they're going to surprise people." And so you even have that similarity between the two franchises that it seems like they're going to have great years in, June and July, and then they end up wildly disappointing you. And for me, it has been painful being a part of both franchises at the same time, rooting for both programs at the same time, being excited, wildly excited in September and in August for both teams to play. And then pretty consistently when October rolls around, the season no longer mattering. And so this year for the Bears has been awesome in that regard. Rooting for a team and everything like that. But now it's like, I didn't realize the pain that comes with having a really, really good football team.
Oh yeah.
You lose that.
Get your hopes up.
You lose the pain a little bit of having the 7th best team in the NFL. You lose sight of the fact of like, yeah, it's great to be good, but it sucks to not be good enough. And yesterday sucked. Yesterday was awful. Yesterday, like that moment of Caleb throwing that ball, sprinting with his back turned to the defensive end, for about 10 yards, turning around. And if he looks to his right, nobody's there. The fact that he said, all right, I'm going to look to my left here, and finds Cole Kmet in the end zone, and then just throws up an insanely accurate ball turning around and having that touchdown. And literally for mere seconds, you're like, season's over. Season's done. Holy crap. Like, this sucked. And then he makes that play, and you're like, oh my God, we're going to win the Super Bowl. That's what that's what it turned into. Like in mere seconds.
I bet it was. Yeah.
It went from we're dead to the Pope being from Chicago was real.
That is real. I can't take that away.
It turned into, oh my God, this is a team of destiny. They will never lose. If they're not going to lose this game.
If they're able to do that, if they're able to come back week after week after week after week, they might not lose.
And that was the euphoria in that moment will never be understated. And I don't know how many times I'll experience that in my life. But then to get your heart ripped out about 35 minutes later, when that same guy who made an incredible play, I don't know if it's DJ's fault or it's his fault. Regardless, he dropped the ball. He turned the ball over. Okay? They lost the game in part to his actions. That sucked. But I was thinking last night when I was sitting on the couch having a beer, very sad, upset of everything that happened. I left a group chat yesterday. Okay? I left the group chat yesterday because of how angry I was. Because there were people who were trying to tell me, "Oh my God, what a hell of a year. That was awesome. You know, what an experience." And
okay, that was going to be a follow-up question of mine. You didn't think at some point this was a house money year? And
So now sitting here, I can't lie to you. No, I don't feel that yet.
Okay,
I'm still
that's fine.
upset.
That's fine.
I'm still upset. I just saw they just played on ESPN the interception that he threw. So I'm still upset. At some point, I will think that, though.
At some point, if it was me, I would think, okay, it's a house money year, but then you get as close as the Bears got, you kind of talk yourself into,
but
this is definitely going to happen.
Look, I at some point will be very happy of everything that occurred. I did not want to hear it in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. An hour. You know, all right, I'll say this. I'll put his ass on blast.
Whoa.
All right. Because he deserves to be put on blast because it was a BS text and he knows it was, which is part of the reason I left the group chat. I had a buddy who goes, "Man, at least the Bears covered." Hell no. Absolutely not.
Well, that's what great teams do.
Stop it, Josh. All right. After what? It's all about your bank account. It's all about what's in your pocket.
That's right.
That's what's more important than the Bears winning is that your bet hit. Get the hell out of here. If I could swear on radio and not get fined by the FCC, I would. Stop. That's not what this is about. It's about your team winning regardless. Keep that to yourself. All right. In that moment, especially literally 5 minutes after the game, keep that to yourself. Okay. And yeah, we all kind of did bet Bears plus 3.5. Thank you for the money, but it's not about that. That was BS. Anyway, though, my point being this: I was sitting on the couch and I was drinking a beer and I was very sad and I was very upset about what happened and how close they came and how I just felt like, man, there's no way they lose this game after that play by Caleb Williams. But then I had this thought. I was like, man, what I would do to feel this way about Nebraska football. Like
just to feel that kind of pain.
Like because the pain that I feel with Nebraska football has never been, man, they were so close to doing something very impactful and winning a championship or winning the Big Ten. It's never been that. Man, they were so close to hanging a banner somewhere and they just couldn't get it done. The pain that I've always felt with Nebraska football is embarrassment. It's just been embarrassing. It's just embarrassing to lose to Michigan State in 2021 the way that they did. It's just embarrassing to get your ass kicked by Penn State with an interim head coach. It's just embarrassing for PJ Fleck to get his team up and playing like it's their Super Bowl and for you to get just absolutely rocked on the road against Minnesota. Like, don't get me wrong. I felt the pain of being so close to winning individual games with Nebraska. Don't get me wrong in that regard. That's happened so many times. That's the pain I feel the most, right? But I've never felt the pain of like, okay, hey, I know in 3 days I'll be happy about this team. I've
You
never,
haven't, yeah.
I've never felt that. I've never felt that. And I was sitting there and I was like, I know at some point I'm going to come back around and be like, hey, this was a great year and this was a ton of fun. But man, I would like to be proud, afterwards about Nebraska's embarrassments.
How long until you turn around on this Bears season? You're like, you know what? They accomplished a lot. Good for them.
This one's going to take a long time to get over. But this one's going to take a very, very long time to get over because of how close they were.
And not to navigate to a different space with this, but what are your feelings towards the afternoon crossover today with Rams fan John Bishop?
I had a great discourse with him after the game.
Oh, wow.
I texted him. I said, congrats. Hell of a game.
Classy move.
It's gonna be awesome next week. I asked him, I go, what do you think the line will be? He said 1.5. I go, I think it's going to be Seattle -2.5. I was correct. In a very John fashion, though, he started complaining about his head coach play calling ability and how Sean McVay stopped running the ball.
He was really wanting him to run the ball. And I looked, and they did not run the ball in the middle portions of that game.
But here's the point I'm trying to make here, Josh. Like, I would love Nebraska. Like, I was sitting there drinking a beer, being like, this sucks and this is awful, and I hate that this happened. At the same time, this is better than just being embarrassed. Like, this is way better than having a sucky football team.
You feel better today than Niners fans do today,
this is
right?
well, yeah. I don't know. I maybe I would
the
have
classic. Would you rather get blown out or lose at the
I think
end?
I would have. I much rather would have experienced what I experienced yesterday as a Bears fan than what people experienced as Niners fans. But I was with Nebraska football, it's been more so the overarching embarrassment of like telling everybody you're going to be good and thinking they're going to get good, and then them not being good at football and you feeling bamboozled, right? I'm sitting on my couch thinking, man, I would like to be hurt by Nebraska football in a way that in a couple of days it'll be unfair for me to be mad. I would like to be sad about Nebraska football in a way that I know that in a week I'll be like, you know what? I'm proud of this team. I'm happy of the journey they took me on. Yes, I'm hurting right now, but man, I'm going to look back on this season and be like, there were so many great moments, man. That win against the Raiders, where they blocked the kick. I'll never forget that. That win against the Vikings, where they marched down and hit that field goal. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget when they beat the Packers at home, onside kick, DJ Moore, overtime touchdown. I'll never forget being down 21-3 and feeling despair and being like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. This is awful. This whole season led to this, and then winning that game. I'll never forget jumping up and down, probably the highest I've ever been in my life, grabbing a random human, and we're both grabbing each other by the shoulders, jumping up and down, okay, at a bar after Caleb Williams made that play. I'll never forget that happiness and euphoria. I would love to feel that way about Nebraska football. I would love to feel that way instead of being like, yeah, they just got their crap kicked in by Iowa on Black Friday. Let me have, 10 Miller Lights sounds great. That sounds awesome. I don't want to be, I hate having the I'm so sad I want to get drunk beers and not the I'm going to have one beer to be reminiscent of a great season. I would love to feel this way about Nebraska football. We'll talk a lot about Nebraska football today because Matt Rule talked a lot about Nebraska football a couple of days ago.
Oh, wow.
He said a lot of things. He's really good at that.
Saying a large volume of things.
Yeah, saying a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I didn't say meaningful. I want to put that out there. I do think some of the things that he said were meaningful. I think he hit on a lot of points. There was one comment that he made about Mike Eckler that really got people going. That really got more so than because like I said, Matt Rule says a lot of things. But he said one thing in particularly that really fired people up that I don't think was that bad. I don't think it was that bad at all. I kind of agreed with him when he said it.
Hello.
Okay? I did. It was I pause the video and I go, am I wrong here? Because you see all
I love
the
that
things,
you're always doing a radio show, whether or not.
I am. Dude. You think Middays from Matt is just the radio show that goes over the air? Okay, the Matt McMaster show runs from 6 a.m. to about 12 a.m. every single day. This show is just me getting it out there. The other show is just constantly in my head. But I pause the video how this works, Josh, is that you go ahead and you see all the clips on Twitter and you see all the quotes on Twitter and you see all the reaction to it on Twitter. And then I go and I listen to it myself. And I was looking for the one point that got everybody pissed off. And I was like, I don't think that's that bad. So yes, in the Tyler in the chat goes, Tyler, Matt agreeing with Matt, shaking my head. Oh, Captain's got a great comment here. He goes, people in their teens and 20s and 30s have no clue what a championship Nebraska football team looks like because they don't want to talk about it or see it. I've never seen it. I've never really seen it. We've
talked about this before, that the best Nebraska season of your life is
all of the Nebraska seasons
yeah.
of my life I was not alive for. In 1971, my mom was born. Okay? In 1995, my parents got married. In 1997, my parents were married and still single. They didn't even have a child yet. So yeah, I would like to feel the pain that also coincides with having pride that I did yesterday with the Bears about Nebraska football. And I think that a lot of people would agree with me, because it's so much better to be in sadness and say, hey, at least this was fun and I'll be happy about it later, instead of being like, this is never going to get better, which a lot of people feel about Nebraska football. So, and now here's the thing though. The honeymoon is kind of worn off. Like now next season, there's like expectations.
Yeah.
Like if they go ahead and they lose in the divisional round next year, I'm just going to be more angry. Like I'm going to turn into Josh Peterson.
Schedule will be a little tougher, right? Because they're not.
It's actually not
coming off a
it's
5-win
not
season.
that bad.
Okay.
This year's schedule is really tough. So next year's schedule, I don't know if it's. I'm not going to make a claim. First off,
I'm not asking you to give us a win total or
anything like that. But also, too, I can't act as if I know for sure who they're. I saw it once and I was like, oh, wasn't that much worse. That was my initial reaction to it. I'll look at it during the break. But alrighty, coming up next, we will go ahead and we'll keep on the NFL. Sean McDermott got fired today. Was it right? Was it wrong? Was it right for his kind of coaching tenure to come down to a very questionable call? Because whether or not whatever side of the aisle you're on, or whether or not it was an interception or a catch, it's still considered questionable. It's one of those weird kind of, in some people's minds, gray area of what was that? Just in general, what was that? So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the double-edged sword of having a great quarterback coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt here on 1620 The Zone. Went ahead and got a really big. First off, do you have any favorite sayings, Josh Hodson? This is a part where we get to learn more about.
Whoa, favorite sayings.
Do you have anything that you think like that's a quote that you think of? You have any like quotes of inspiration that you tell yourself? Do you do some self affirmation? Do you have any of your favorite sayings come off the top of your head?
This is a point where I really hope my wife is listening and, and can tell me.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm sure there is a tiny Rolodex of things that my wife is tired of hearing me say, but yes, I nothing comes to mind. Nothing.
Okay. Really?
But I'm sure there's something.
Maybe I overestimated you.
A lot of people do.
Well, you're a very well-read man, so I thought like you were going to like drop something on me or give me a movie quote or something like that. You're going to tell me, this is what I believe. Which, by the way, we're taking your emails for Matt at 1620 The Zone and Josh O at 1620 The Zone. Give us your worst airplane nightmares, your worst travel stories. Which, by the way, our emails are brought to you by the Equitable Bank inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. Also, we're gonna have Robin Washut on at 1:20 today to talk Husker hoops. And then we are working currently right now to book Brett Ciancia. We are on the phones with his people, if you will, trying to get Brett on the show today. He might be on at 12 o'clock. We will see. That is the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Garden. Don't forget, 402-951-1620 is the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. I asked you what your favorite saying was because I have a favorite saying. It's a very simple one, okay? But it's something I believe. My favorite saying is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's my favorite saying. And I think that came to a head this morning when Sean McDermott was fired by the Buffalo Bills and told, we no longer want your services. Good luck in your future endeavors. Thank you. Okay. It's a tough, it's a difficult conversation to have a little bit in my regard because you have to look at what was and what is now, right? Because from 2000 to 2016, in those 16-year history of the Buffalo Bills, they won 112 and 160. Okay. They were 112 and 160 with a 41% winning percentage before Sean McDermott became the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. In his first season as the Buffalo Bills head coach, they went 9-7 with Tyrod Taylor and snapped a 17-year playoff-less streak. Okay, he brought Buffalo back to heights that they hadn't been since the Jim Kelly era. Right? I mean, now, granted, they didn't go to the Super Bowl, but in terms of consistently winning and being a contender and going ahead and being more than just respectable, being a threat in the AFC, he brought them back to that. And so it's kind of a conversation that we sometimes have with Nebraska football. How much do we judge a coach on what they accomplished in relativeness to what they came into, and how much do we judge them on the standards of now? And it's one of those things in coaching where the more you win, the more people expect you to win, and your success actually becomes kind of your worst enemy in a way, right? Because if you win 10 games in a row, 10 games a year, 3 years in a row, everyone's going to be expecting that. Everybody's going to be expecting you to have that success. And when you don't have that success or you don't take the next step, they think something is wrong with you, right? And so that's kind of what happened with Sean McDermott. It does not matter anymore to the Buffalo Bills that they were awful before he got there. He was there for 9 years, and they see what they can accomplish and what they can do, but they need to take the next step to ultimately accomplish the goal, which is to win the Super Bowl. And so, unfortunately for Sean McDermott, they've identified, look, we know that with Josh Allen and this defense and with these players and what we've decided, and the decisions that we've made, we can be successful, in the regular season. But with you as the head coach, we have not been as successful as we need to be or as we can be in the playoffs. And so you have to go. And it's very interesting to me because I haven't read this, but I'm sure I'm going to see how many teams are clamoring to get Sean McDermott? How many teams are chomping at the bit to go ahead and hire Sean McDermott to be their next head coach? And the reason why that exists is because I think a lot of people look at the quarterback position and look at Josh Allen and say, well, it's not necessarily about McDermott. It's about Allen. It's about 17. It's about that guy. It's about how good he is.
It's a lot like Harbaugh where, hey, we're not going to get rid of the quarterback.
Exactly.
We're going to get rid of the coach.
But that's the issue I have a little bit, though, Josh, because you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you're a coach without a quarterback, you are going to get fired.
Yes.
Okay? You are going to get let go because your team will not win enough. But if you are a coach with a quarterback, you don't get the credit. You're like, nah, it ain't you. It's that guy. It's J.A. It's Josh Allen, right? And McDermott in particularly, we fall in love with offensive coaches. But even though we have some genius defensive coaches, we don't fall in love with them as much. Sean McDermott, the Buffalo Bills' disguise coverage rate in the last couple of weeks of the season was the highest below Seattle in the league. They were awesome at disguising coverages and not allowing quarterbacks to know what they were in. And it made it very hard. I mean, it made it very hard on Trevor Lawrence. It just made it very hard on quarterbacks. That's Sean McDermott. That's his side of the ball. But we don't clamor over that as much as we do Ben Johnson and Sean McVay and their fancy little packages and all the plays that they run and the motions and stuff like that. And I don't mean to demean them, but I think we definitely in the media and as fans, we go crazy over, offensive coaches and how creative they can be. But I don't think we give the same credit to defensive coaches. That's just an opinion I have. But back to the quarterback point. You're like Kevin Stefanski got hired in Atlanta in part because his team looked good with mediocre quarterback play. Kevin Stefanski got hired in Atlanta because he's this fancy offensive coach, and does a lot of super creative things and was able to find a relative amount of success with bad QB play. Sean McDermott, to some people, won't be, as attractive because he had a quarterback. Because his team, because he had Josh Allen. Because it's like, how can you not win with Josh Allen? How can you not get to the Super Bowl with Josh Allen? Even though we're not talking about the fact that the Bills' offense that he has no control over turned the ball over 5 times.
I'm sitting here wondering today how their GM was Brandon Bean.
Yeah,
got a promotion.
Here's another thing
out of all
too.
this. You didn't put anything around him, and you're getting promoted.
So he essentially loses his job because they lost to the Denver Broncos. But they didn't lose to the Denver Broncos because of the defense's fault. They lost to the Denver Broncos because interceptions were thrown and balls were fumbled.
Interesting.
And they didn't execute all that well down the stretch. I mean, they had a chance to win that game in overtime and they lost. But it's McDermott's head on the stake. Do I agree with it for them to fire Sean McDermott? I actually do. I just think it's been 9 years. They've kind of plateaued a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Someone has to be the scapegoat for you didn't get to the promised land with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes out of the way.
And also too, if you want to look at some of the success that we've seen from the league over the last couple of years, right? It's kind of rooted in very super smart offensive minds being with great quarterbacks. Andy Reid is an incredibly, it goes without saying, incredibly smart offensive mind paired with Patrick Mahomes, right? Sean McVay, incredibly smart offensive mind paired with Matthew Stafford. Kyle Shanahan, incredibly smart offensive mind paired with Brock Purdy. And Purdy has gotten better, but also Shanahan's ability has elevated Purdy. So it's one of those where maybe that's kind of the route you want to take. And like I said, my favorite quote is, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. It's kind of where we got to with Sean McDermott. you're doing the same thing over again and you're expecting they're finally going to get over the hump. Well, he has been given ample opportunity to get over the hump and they weren't able to do that. Now, do I agree with how some people look at Sean McDermott and some people just gloss over his ability to be a football coach? No, I don't. I mean, the guy's the second most winning coach in Bills history, aside from Marv Levy, like the dude resurrected a Buffalo Bills franchise that was just swimming in the unknown for literally 16 years. Their winning percentage over a 16-year history was 41%. That's embarrassing. They didn't make the playoffs for 17 straight seasons. That's insane. So I want to give more credit to Sean McDermott for his next head coaching endeavor. At the same time, I don't think that the Bills made the wrong decision. I think it was just you need a refresh, need a new start. Now it's interesting. It's not as if this head coaching pool, this is not a strong head coaching pool. Okay, it just isn't. Let's just call a spade a spade. You don't have a Mike Vrabel, you don't have a Ben Johnson. Like it's pretty thin after Harbaugh and Stefanski, right? And those were two coaches. I mean, some of the best guys on the list for people to be hired were dudes who were literally fired days ago, right? So we got Jim Schwartz, interviewing to be the Cleveland Browns head coach.
What is that?
I think they just
who's going Jim Schwartz? That's our guy.
I think it boils down to, Josh, I think they kind of know the Cleveland Browns job is not an attractive job.
Sure.
It's not. I would not. It's terrible ownership. It's a GM that has made some really, really bad decisions in the past. They're in cap hell because of Deshaun Watson. Now that ends after 1 year, but still you're gonna have to navigate through that for a whole season, which isn't going to be able to allow you to kind of set a winning culture right away. Which
he did an excellent job on that defense, but
yeah, no, I don't think that. There was a great.
We've seen him be a head coach before.
I don't want to steal takes. There was a great conversation on the Bill Simmons podcast, and Simmons essentially said, "I think I would rather just be an offensive coordinator for the Lions and have that great year, as opposed to potentially putting your coaching career off to your head coaching career off to the wrong foot with the Cleveland Browns." Don't want to steal takes. That was his opinion. Kind of agree with him. We'll see. I mean, like Clint Kubiak for Seattle probably is the best get. I mean, that Seattle team under that offense has been really good under him. And Sam Darnold's been awesome this year under him. And he's young, 38 years old, right? Really good offensive mind. You can pair him up with Josh Allen. You can make the offense more electric. I think that might be a good. I don't think they're going to go defense. I think that they're going to overcompensate a little bit and be like, we're going to pair our incredible quarterback with an incredible offensive coordinator. So, it's one of those things. It's the double-edged sword of having success, right? Up to a certain point, people forget about what was and they think about what is. And what is the fact that the Bills can't get over the hump with a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's what is. What was a pile of crap that he took and ended up elevating them into a consistent threat in the AFC. That's what was. But he, unfortunately, doesn't get judged on that anymore. And it's the double-edged sword of having a great quarterback, because is it you or is it the gunslinger? And almost always when it comes down to you or the gunslinger in this day and age, I'm going to take the gunslinger. And that's what the Buffalo Bills decided to do. Because I'll tell you this right now, it ain't Josh Allen's fault. Well, it kind of was Josh Allen's fault when they lost. But, he's doing everything he can. I'm getting a little, I just hope next year he doesn't have that same press conference where he's crying again, because it's just so tough to watch. That guy cares so much and wants to win so bad. So, all righty, we'll go to the Prairie Flag Casino hotline, 402-951-1620. Josh's wife is called in. Hi. Can I can say her name. Hi, sure. Amy. How are you?
Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm great. I'm having a great time today. I'm having fun.
You gave me an opportunity.
I did.
To share Joshisms.
Yes, I haven't heard a lot of Joshisms. I'm excited to hear it. I'm shocked that he didn't have a couple ready to fire out at me right away.
Oh, he's never ready right away. Like he's gotta think it through and thoroughly and pre-record it to make sure it's spot on.
These are all true. Roasted.
I mean, I told him I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Just came out.
It's okay. It's fine. We're all family here. We're one
I-
big happy family.
That's right. That's right, son. Thank you so much for
You're very
remembering.
welcome. Thanks, Mom.
Most of the things that you will get as Joshisms probably originated somewhere from a movie.
Yes.
So really, that's what I'm encouraging. I know you're the sports guy. You like to have the sports on. You're probably watching like Roof Ball or something at some point.
We watched Roof Ball
but
this weekend, honey.
We did. That's why I referenced it, because I know all the sports, guys. He usually will use those kinds of phrases against people. So
Sure.
the phrase, I know sports, comes from him roasting me because I would recall some minute fact because I finally paid attention, and he would say, oh, honey, you know all the sports. And it came out as sarcasm, but the joke's on him.
That's a good
I
one.
know sports.
You do know sports. Is there any other like wise Joshisms where you're like, oh wow, that was great advice. I will follow.
Yeah, would you like to answer the question?
Oh, you were looking for something wise.
Yes.
I called the wrong show. Well, I mean, he's wise. He's smart. He thinks things through.
There
Does
you
he have
go.
Anything wise advice for other people? It's
Whoa.
been 20 years. I can't answer that honestly.
I appreciate the call. I'll tell you this, Amy. He says a lot of wise things to me. So I appreciate
He
you
does.
calling in. You're the best.
All right. I love you guys.
I love you too. Talk to you soon. All right, we'll go to Drew. That was a great call.
Yeah, maybe Drew can actually answer the question that's been posed.
Drew, you got any good sayings I can steal from you and act smarter amongst my friends with?
Well, I think this is kind of where you're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Get busy living or get busy dying.
Great. Great
A
job.
little cliche, but it's good that, if you have your dauber down,
Yeah.
I'm sitting now realizing I'm doing the opposite of this quote because I'm waiting to go into the gym for 15 minutes just stalling. I'm just sitting. So I'm like, I'm not living this quote.
Sure.
But I had kind of a dumb one of my own a couple years ago. For some reason, I have no idea what it means, but I'm all in.
Okay.
And the saying is, I'm all about that action.
Yes.
I have no idea what it means. I'm in, though.
You're all about that action. You're all about it. You're all about it.
I'm in. I mean, people were stopped returning calls. I just couldn't stop saying it. So,
Did that became your like saying at work?
last one.
Okay.
With your topic, if Ice Cube right now heard your last discussion about the Bills and
Yes.
he's like off stage, underrated rap quote from the 90s, I won't choke like the Buffalo Bills.
That's
so maybe Ice Cube will call in.
I hope Ice Cube would call in. That would be a great get, Josh.
Open invitation.
Hey, Wacky Guess Wednesday. Appreciate it, Drew.
All
Thank you for the call. Get that workout in. We push or pull today. What do we buys and tries? What are we doing? All right. Thanks for the answer. Drew. Just trying to make combos.
Yeah.
We go to the YouTube chat. Kenneth writes in. Here's one for you, Matt. You can't drink all day unless you start in the morning.
We've
That's
all
a good
heard that one a lot.
That's a good one. Here's one from Hoof. He goes, "Don't eat yellow snow." Josh Otts.
I did have a conversation with my son about that.
About not eating yellow snow?
Yes.
I didn't know you had to have those combos.
You got to tell him.
What, does he think it's because somebody spilled lemonade?
I don't know what he thinks.
That's a good point. You don't know what he's thinking.
I need to
until
tell
you
him
ask
immediately so he doesn't go like 3 years thinking, I might find some yellow snow someday, and that's good eating.
That's I wouldn't say that. That's actually concerning. The things I learned, you know what? If this show is going to make me anything, it's going to make me a better future parent.
Absolutely.
There you go. Call or text the show. Prairie Flower Casino Hotline, 402-951-1620 is our number. If you have any great sayings that you want to tell us and we can steal and act very smart to people, we will go ahead and do that. You want to email us about your sayings, Matt at 1620thezone, Josh O at 1620thezone. I gave everybody a prompt. If you just joined us, I gave everybody a prompt at 10:45. I have not found an update yet. Let me check Diana Rossini's Twitter. I checked it before the break. She was the one providing us updates. But the Houston Texans are still in New England. They have not been able to leave. because of weather. It's been absolutely terrible. And so I told everybody, email me your worst travel stories. Give me a travel nightmare story. Tell me a terrible time that you had at the airport, because the Houston Texans, apparently, there's no update here. They haven't left yet, apparently. They're still there. Tell me your worst travel stories, and we will read them at some point. I'm going to tell you this right now, Josh Hodson. We've gotten a lot of emails. Okay.
Oh, good.
We've gotten
good.
a lot of people telling us some just horror stories. Everybody has one. Everybody's got a terrible travel story. Email us about that. We'll talk about it. We have booked Brett Ciancia. He will be on at 12 o'clock to talk about the college football playoff and
That's
about
tonight.
Miami versus Notre Dame. Yeah, we're
Miami,
gonna have
Indiana.
some. We're gonna have some speaks about that. All right, we're gonna have some conversations about that, because how the hell does this great sport just play their championship game on a random ass Monday?
They always do.
Nah, I don't like it.
It's even later
you know
next
what?
year.
I'm going to bitch and moan about that.
Okay, that's fair.
Because 11 o'clock, everybody knows that's Matt's bitch and moan hour. All right. At 12 and 1, I give you great sports stuff. At 11 a.m., I'm going to bitch and moan about things. Like DJ Moore should have kept running that route.
He should have.
The Bears don't play next week. I'm pissed about it. You know what? I'm going to be angry today. You're going to hear all of this here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Buffalo Bills fire their head coach, Sean McDermott, this morning. Now 8 head coaching vacancies in the NFL. Already 2 jobs have been filled, which are the Giants, who are being filled by John Harbaugh, and the Atlanta Falcons with Kevin Stefanski. I really like the Stefanski hire, as much as
you do.
People might think I don't like Kevin Stefanski. Because
the morning show made it seem like you were against this decision.
Were you? We had a fun little get together. On Saturday. Were you there when Mike Schaefer said that he would rather have Kevin Stefanski over Mike McDonald, and I flipped out?
No.
I flipped out on Mike. Even worse than the desk convo. I got really this comes back to your correct claim of me always being on a radio show. I'm just perpetually on a radio show. Mike said that, and I'm gonna be honest with you, got a little overzealous with my flip out. I was stunned though that Schaefer wanted a fired head coach over the coach that was currently on his way to the NFC Championship game. But I really do like the hire by Atlanta. I think you have a lot of really good offensive pieces on that team. Very quietly, Kyle Pitts had over 900 receiving yards this year. Drake London is a dog. B.J. Robinson's awesome. And they got some really impressive young pieces on that defense. James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee, they traded a first-round pick to get him in the draft this year. He's going to be a guy for a while. Already had 10.5 sacks this season. But still, so 8 current head coaching vacancies. 2 have already been filled. In a year that there aren't that many, like, oh my God, great head coaching, prospects out there. There's really only been like 2 or 3, in my opinion. It'll be interesting to see how all of these get filled. Tennessee has been tied to Matt Nagy. So that hasn't been
I don't love that for myself.
Yeah, that hasn't been fulfilled yet, but I think it's kind of we're almost on like the writing is on the wall at this point from what I've seen. There was a recent tweet about Nagy. I think he's interviewing again today. I don't know for sure. But the Ravens they just announced they're going to bring in Anthony Weaver, the Dolphins defensive coordinator, for a second interview for their head coaching job. So Weaver, as people know, was formerly played for Baltimore, and then he was an assistant coach in Baltimore as well. So we might be trending for Anthony Weaver to be the next head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, having a second interview. A way too early top 25 for college football came out.
Oh, season's not even over.
It's not even over. Typically, that comes out tomorrow.
Yeah,
why are we doing it now?
Well, I guess, you got to be first to the story, right?
Well, On3 likes to do that, but is it your story to tell? Many people are asking. Apparently, that's very important. Apparently, there are stories you can't tell, which they're definitely probably
a lot of stories we can't tell.
Probably are. Ohio State 1, no surprise. Georgia 2, Texas 3, Notre Dame 4, Indiana 5. Which is kind of wild that Indiana's 5 after whooping everybody's ass and then actually having a really good portal as well. Oregon 6, Texas Tech 7, A&M 8, Miami 9, and Oklahoma 10. Other Big Ten teams: Michigan 11, Penn State 14. Washington. Keep forgetting Washington. USC are in the Big Ten. Washington 18, USC 19. Nebraska plays Washington next season. Another team that they play next season that is going to be ranked here is Iowa, number 21. So Nebraska, according to this way too early top 25, would play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranked teams.
Hell yeah.
Next season. Well, if you're worried about the streak being broken, of how many, can Nebraska finally beat a ranked team for the first time since 2016? You're going to have plenty of opportunities next year.
Oh, see, that's a positive spin.
Everybody's always talking about Matt Rule's records against ranked teams. Well, he's going to have an opportunity to improve it next year. That's the glass half full, Matt McMaster, right there. Not necessarily the glass half empty. So, way too early top 25. I'm a fan of way too early anythings. I love like a good 2028 NFL mock draft,
Do you like that graphic that comes out from time to time where we asked AI to pick the next 50 champions?
I love those.
Okay.
Do you know why? Because I'll see that in 2032 the Marlins are going to win the World Series, and then I immediately go, who's in their farm system? I like immediately look up Marlins top 30 prospects to see what they got cooking. Because clearly, AI is like, hey, they got this guy that they got from the Dominican Republic who's 16 years old. But in 6 years, he's going to be the best player in the MLB, and he's going to lead the Marlins to another World Series. So I do enjoy those. And then there's just like they get to 2034, and I think they just start picking on market. And so the Cubs always come up in that.
And then there's always an expansion team.
Should we do that now?
Goes on a win.
Wait. Let me go to ChatGPT and have them.
Okay.
Yeah. This will be okay. Wait. OpenAI, ChatGPT. I'm not an AI guy. ChatGPT. Pick the next 10 World Series champions. All right, so obviously they're going to go. They're making their answer now.
It just said Dodgers 10 times.
Okay, so 2026 is the Dodgers. Okay,
good pick.
Wait. Now do it for 10 years. They only gave me the 2026.
Sad.
All right, pure prediction mode, no guarantees, just educated guesses based on talent, pipelines, payrolls, farm systems, and recent trends. Here are my 10-year World Series champions forecast, starting with next season. All right, Los Angeles Dodgers 2026. 2027, Baltimore Orioles. Young core matures, pitching clicks, and they finally break through. 2028, New York Yankees. Too much talent and pressure not to win one in this window. Is ChatGPT a New York radio host? Seriously. They spend too much money not to win one in this window. How do you not win one with Judge?
His bums.
All right, you'll like this. 2029, Atlanta Braves.
Hello.
Sustained excellence pays off again with another title. 2030, Seattle Mariners. Mike Stubbs. Goms. Elite pitching plus developed offense equals first championship in franchise history. 2031, Texas Rangers. Another peak cycle from a front office that isn't afraid to spend. 2032, San Diego Padres. A retooled roster finally puts it all together. And then here is, I'm telling you, they just go on markets. 2033, Chicago Cubs. Strong farm system. Payroll flexibility. False. They're not spending any money. Led to a surprising run. 2034, New York Mets. That's not happening. 2035, Cleveland Guardians. Definitely not happening.
Mike Schaefer.
Yeah. Screw the Guardians. So there you go. There are your 10 next World Series champions. I guess dynasties don't exist for ChatGPT. No back-to-backs. No repeats?
It's hard to repeat.
Should I ask him that? Why no repeats? Why no repeats? And he goes, okay, short answer, because baseball is brutally random in October. Thanks, ChatGPT.
Okay.
And then, oh, wow. Oh, holy crap. They've given me 8 bullet points as to why that's not the case.
Wow.
Holy Lord. This thing is learning. It is still writing, Josh.
I don't like any of this.
Oh, my God. It even goes, so why did I pick the Dodgers only once? Why did they know that was a question that I had? All right, I don't like this. I'm a part of the people who AI just scares me.
Good.
I'm not a fan. I feel like we're opening Pandora's box, and I'm not a fan of that. So, speaking about, how do I make Pandora's box into a transition? Nebraska football kind of is one big Pandora's box in a way. You just open it up and you can't stop talking about it, which is why we haven't talked about it yet. Because I know if I bring up Nebraska football and some of the questionable things that Matt Rule said a couple of days ago, I won't stop talking about it, which is why I'm going to bring it up at 12:20. At 12 o'clock, we're going to have Brett Ciancia. At 1:20, we're going to have Robin Washut. And at 12:40, we're going to have the odd news with Josh Odson. But coming up next, before the AP poll is released, we're going to talk about Nebraska basketball. They're awesome win at Northwestern. And Creighton, because, man, was Blue Jay overtime fun, and I'm hoping to emulate it. All of that coming up here next on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Here's an interesting tweet from Diana Rossini.
Hi, Diana.
She goes, "Oh, that would be a great get. It would work on that. Several organizations want to move quickly on Sean McDermott, but timing is the obstacle. A number of key decision makers are tied up in in-person meetings with other candidates." It'd be so funny if Sean McDermott, who deserves to have another job, doesn't get another job because it's like, sorry, couldn't fit you in the calendar. Can't mark out the state. It'd be a lame ass excuse.
If you want Sean McDermott, go get Sean McDermott.
Thank you.
He's available.
Can you imagine telling your fan base, yeah, we didn't get the right coach because we just, schedules couldn't meet.
They got
Couldn't
fired too
match.
late in the cycle.
Got too late. No, we can't. Sorry. Couldn't get the private Jane up and running, jet up and running, moving up. Private Jane. Jesus. The end of
It was a
season.
late night for you.
The end of season press conferences are happening for the Chicago Bears right now. I'm sure there's something that will piss me off about it. And then now John, so I don't know if this is going to be a cordial crossover between the afternoon show because John Bishop is now taking a victory lap and tweeting mean things about the Bears. He just tweeted.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
But you said you had a very pleasant conversation with him after the game. So,
I did.
So all of this on social media and the crossover today is performative?
I wouldn't put it past him.
Interesting.
I would not put it past him at all. Because I did. We had a very, now granted, I ended the convo. Okay. Because I didn't want to have I'm going to be real with you, John. If you're listening, I didn't want to have a full convo with you. I didn't want to have a full conversation. I really, I did. I wasn't, I told him, we talked about the lines. I said, yep, I get him from the Michael Severe tree or whatever. And then I didn't text after that. So I guess John kind of ended the comment too because he didn't respond to me. At the same time, John had sent a response back. I wasn't going to say anything because I was done. But he tweeted out, yes, Soldier Field is at ease until next September. Or if Gary, Indiana's high school football field is ready by then.
Oh, okay. Well, the origin point on that tweet was there's a typo in the Bills' statement that they fired Sean McDermott.
Yes.
If you bear with me for
at
12 seconds.
There you go. Yes. They put Sean has done an admirable job of leading the football team for the past 9 seasons.
Admiral McDermott.
Now, you know what? He might become the Admiral now. Like that might become.
That's a good nickname.
That might become his nickname. Well, typically you have the Admiral. Jesus. Admiral.
See, it's tough.
For David Robinson or people who are in the military or people who win big games, which Sean McDermott who is unable to do. But then so John took a shot at Soldier Field. And then Mike Farron, our Chicago Knight, goes, there's more than one high school in Gary, John. John responds, soon to be joined by Hallis High School. Bear down, Gary Bears. Mike Schaefer has nicknamed them the Gare Bears too, which is ridiculous. So, all right, enough Chicago Bear football. Who cares? Nebraska basketball. A lot of people care. Rink Mast hasn't played well the last 2 games. Only played 17 minutes, had 5 points against Oregon. Did not play well against Indiana. And didn't have that great of a game against the Northwestern Wildcats. And yet, they're kicking ass.
So we commented on this at the gathering that you eventually came to. You missed the Nebraska ball portion.
I was late, yes.
But fashionably. It was pretty early in the second half. We kind of looked around and we said, Nebraska's not playing great, but they're still up by 6 or 8 or however many it was at the time.
Yeah. Rink had 9 points, went 3 of 6 from the field, and only had 2 rebounds and 2 assists. And yet and by the way, he only played 19 minutes. Only had 19 minutes to play. And that's the second game that's happened where he's played less than 20 minutes and hasn't scored in double digits. And yet they win. And they don't just win. They kick ass. And somebody, who's very tied in with the Nebraska basketball team told me this. He goes, I was talking with somebody and we said it's funny, Braden Frager can play well and we will win by a lot. Or Braden Frager can do nothing. He can play well and win by a lot. And Braden Frager can do nothing and will still win. And this is now what you're getting. Like, this team is so deep and incredibly talented and so well coached. Like Chris Collins he basically was like, man, they've brought back the purity of basketball, which is an insane compliment to get from such a respected coach in Chris Collins. Like, it's just crazy to me that not only have they developed this just ability to play great basketball and, be able to fight through adversity, be able to fight through bad shooting stints and whatnot and still win games. It's insane to me too that they have just this depth that nobody thought they would. And by the way, they have this depth and Connor Sejan is hurt. Like, they could be deeper.
He's putting out great content, though.
Like, he is putting out awesome content. Big Lego guy, Connor Sejan. Credit to him. But it's one of those things where it's the double-edged sword, or not the double-edged sword, but it's like the duality of, like, okay, not only is this team super talented and well coached, but they're also super deep, and they can play 9 guys, and they're a team that could suffer another injury, and be.
Hey, you shut your mouth.
Hey, I'm sorry, but they could suffer another injury and still be very good and still win games in the Big Ten, and they've already suffered an injury. They already had that happen. And so it's just one of those things where it's like you have to say, man, this is what happens with good teams. This is what happens with great teams. This is what happens with great programs. And then you kind of got to snap yourself into it and be like, well, they are a great team. Well, they do have a awesome constructed roster. They are well coached. Travis has good points. He goes, Mask hasn't needed to play a lot, keeping those legs rested for the back half of the conference play. Why put that energy out there, Matt? Travis, I'm more so not. I'm not discrediting Rink or like making fun of Rink or being like he sucks. I'm more so pointing out it's just I didn't think that they could have not great Rink Mask performances in Big Ten play and survive.
Thought he was key.
And actually, they're having not great Rink Mask performances in Big Ten play, and they're thriving. They kicked the crap out of Oregon. They surged in the second half against Northwestern and, won that game by, the final score was 7. They won that game by 19 points. So I feel like this team, it's almost like every game you find out more about them. And the crazy thing is that there are no notes. I'm not going to go crazy and say this team isn't flawed, right? Every team is flawed. There's no such thing as a perfect team. We're always chasing a perfect roster to fill every single hole in every sport. That doesn't exist, okay? The perfect.
Well, I guess technically this Nebraska basketball squad is perfect.
Well, they are. They're 18-0, and the thing is that even when they're imperfect, and what I'm referring to is when they have their bad shooting nights and bad shooting stints, which they've had this year, they still go ahead and they just play a defense that erases all of that. It surprises me how I always get surprised watching this team and how another layer gets added. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting for them to get got. I'm waiting for them to have a bad night. I'm waiting for me to be like, all right, is this fool's gold? And I think I was more so waiting for that in the beginning of the year. And now I've just come to the point where it's just like, no, it just gets better. Why does it get better? Why are they like wine?
Train, yeah.
Why is everybody else, deteriorating as the season goes on and feeling the grind of the season? And let's make this about Creighton, right? Creighton has gone on this really, really good run, over the last couple of weeks, to make up for their really bad non-con play, but they're kind of running out of gas. Like they are, because every game has meant so much to them because they did not play well in November and they have to build a resume, through Big East play in order to make the NCAA tournament. And so every game has been super emotional and they've just kind of, they're getting worn down, and they got worn down against St. John's. They looked worn down against Providence at times. They just got out physical against Providence. And you're seeing this like other teams across the country. Hell, we saw it with Iowa State and Vanderbilt last week. where it's just like they came out, they did not shoot well, and they got. And those were undefeated teams that are no longer undefeated. This Nebraska team was they're just immune to that. they're just immune to just we can shoot. We can only shoot 36% against Michigan State. We're still going to win.
They have found a plethora of ways to win games this year.
And they found a plethora of players who not only have surprised you, but also have gotten better. I can't stress to you how much faster Sam Hoiberg looks on my screen. His ability to just cut to the basket now, especially, when he's on the perimeter, that kind of first step to his left, get his shoulder down. He's got great dip, kind of dips that right shoulder in, gets across the defender, puts himself in a position to either lay it up with his right hand or reverse. I mean, we didn't see that. Bryce Sanford, man, averaged 5 points at Iowa last year. His quick trigger, his release, his just shot in general, it's very rare that you have players that you're just like, yeah, every time he shoots it probably will go in. Like you just feel like it's going to go in. And then what else? The other thing they added is just, all right, now they have this guy who came to school 1 year early, who, reportedly was, didn't have all of his stuff together when he originally got here, but has matured and developed into a player that you want to give the ball to at the end of the game to go and get you a bucket. And Braden Frager. I mean, they have done everything that great teams do and great programs do, which is they evaluate in the portal, they elevate guys from the portal, and then they develop their own players. I'm going to be real with you. Who thought that Cale Jacobson, when he was a walk-on here in Nebraska, would be a very key part of one of the greatest teams, if not already the greatest team in Nebraska basketball history? I'm not willing to fully make that statement yet, but they're definitely on the way. I mean, they're so on the way to doing that.
They'll be the highest-ranked Nebraska basketball team in like 10 minutes.
Who would have thought that guy would be like, yeah, no, he's going to come out and he's going to give you, 8 to 15 minutes a game and be on. I mean, he played 22 minutes against Northwestern.
The new AP poll is actually out now.
All right. Give it to me.
Number 7.
Yeah. I thought that would probably be it.
Highest ranking in program history. Congratulations. Some in the audience probably thought it would be a little higher today.
Yeah, me.
Okay.
I thought they'd be 6. I didn't think they'd be 7. Now, if you go ahead and you look at the net ranking, they are 6, which is why I thought they'd be higher. I mean, they went up a lot recently because you just can't go 18-0 and still be behind Illinois, which, by the way, Illinois hasn't lost a game since they lost to Nebraska at home.
Is Miami of Ohio ranked?
On the AP poll?
Yeah.
You would know. Are you looking at the list now?
I'm not.
You want to go ahead and look at it? I'll tell you what they are. Miami of Ohio in the net ranking, if advertisements can go away, they're 52.
Miami of Ohio, 25th in the country.
Nice, finally. Well, to be fair, they don't have a quad 1 win.
Yeah, they have played no one.
They haven't even played a quad 1 game this year. They're 0-0 in Q1 opportunities. But at that point, when you go 16-0, you kind of have. It's principle. It's all about principle here on the show.
We're a principled show.
We are a principle-based show. It's all about standards and rules. All right? We have a lot of standards and a lot of rules here. Not Matt. Well, we do have a Matt, but not Matt Rule. Oh. But a quick convo on the Creighton thing. We had a pretty crazy Blue Jay overtime that steered into you can't get mad at players for not living up to their billing when they're paid because they're just kids. We had a very passionate phone call about that.
Oh,
I'll just say this.
Really? I can't?
There's a certain player that didn't play 1 minute against Providence who is in their front court.
Can't spell his first name without 0.
Who didn't play 1 minute and was recruited and paid and picked to be a very big player, to be a key contributor on this team. And the fact that Owen Freeman, did not play one minute against Providence, like, I definitely,
we can get mad at this, right?
As an observer and as a just, I'm not, and you as a fan can definitely go, what the hell are we doing here? Like, how did this happen?
I'm not saying throw him in the sinkhole downtown, but
I could ask questions.
Yeah,
I could totally say, he's 6'10" and you're getting dominated on the defensive boards. Why isn't he in the game?
That's how bad he must be.
Exactly. And that's kind of how bad he's been. You know, he's like been dunker spot Owen. They did not recruit him and pay him to be dunker spot guy. And they definitely didn't pay him to just sit his ass on the bench for 40 minutes. But that's what he did. You could get upset about that. You could totally be like, what happened? And I'm not, by the way, I'm not upset at Mac at all or anything. I don't blame Mac for his decisions. Hell, I don't blame Mac for a lot. I mean, I think Mac has honestly done a really, really good job this year. You know, maybe you can blame Mac the GM. I'm not blaming Mac the coach though. You know, but at the same time, it's like, hey man, like I understand that he tore his meniscus and he didn't have an offseason, but we talked to these assistant coaches on Blue Jay Overtime, and I for sure one of them said blatantly, I don't want to claim that multiple of them said blatantly, but I'm almost positive it was two, but one of them for sure said, wait till January, you know, just let him get his feet under him, let him recover, let him get his wind. Oh no, it's January now, and he's not playing.
It's almost not January anymore.
We're almost in February.
Yeah.
And he's just straight up not playing in incredibly critical and crucial games that you need to win because of the shortcomings of your beginning of the season. Right? I don't think it's a bad coaching decision. I really don't. Like I don't blame them for not playing him. I just blame them for investing in him and him just for whatever reason, not developing or getting to the point where he can be a contributor on this team. And he just doesn't really fit, you know, like this is a team that likes to go fast and shoot the ball. He really can't do either of those things, you know? And one of the things that maybe you were hoping that he could do is be a physical presence and thwart threats like the Oswin guy on Providence who ended up killing him. And they didn't trust him enough to even attempt for him to do that. So I understand the sentiment of like, they're just kids and they're still 18 to 23-year-olds. But at the same time, I definitely can look at that and be like, oh, what the hell are you doing? Or what the hell is going on? And it can be concerning. And the Jays are it's concerning now. Like I talked to John Walker, not on this show, but on the morning show when I was the morning show host. I was like, how many losses do you think they can take in Big East play? And he goes, I think 5 to 6. Like they can only lose 5 or 6 times. And then they could get in the tournament with that record. We're at 3 now. That Seton Hall loss, you're going to look back on it and really be pissed off. I think Providence was just a really tough matchup, and they went on the road. And hell, Providence has played 3 of the best teams in the Big East. They didn't win any of those games, but they're all within 6 points. That's a tough place to win. Ask Villanova. Ask UConn. It's hard to go. Ask Seton Hall. It's hard to go there and win. And the Jays are just simply not better than those teams. They're not better than UConn. They're not playing as good at basketball as Villanova. They're not as good as St. John's, who beat them, who absolutely tore them apart. So this season by no means is over. By no means is over. They still can make the tournament. They still can go on a run. They actually have an identity now, which they didn't have in the beginning of the year, but that was a tough one. That was a really, really, really tough one on Friday. Do you know who's not a tough one? Brett Ciancia.
Whoa, you're saying he's not tough?
No, from an ability to get answers out of him. It's not tough to. He gives us all the answers and all the previews. Pick six preview, Brett Ciancia, writer, author, creator, incredible guy. Coming up next here on 1620 The Zone. Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone. Why am I echoing? Wait, what's going on? There it is. We fixed it. I apologize. Nebraska basketball up to 7 in the AP poll. The Houston Texans, I think, are still in New England. Like, this is ridiculous. Still in New England, which is wild. I feel terrible for them. We are taking all of your horror travel stories. If you have a terrible travel story that you want to share with us, Matt at 1620 The Zone, Josh O at 1620 The Zone, we will read those toward the top of the hour. We are joined from Pick Six Previews, one of the best writers of college football in the country, Mr. Brett Ciancia. Brett, you definitely have a terrible travel story or two.
Yeah, Matt, thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Well, I'd say the worst one was being stuck in Destin, Florida. It's one of those tiny airports in Florida, and, the weather changes so quickly in Florida where you're stuck. So, the smaller the airport, it seems like there's some chance for a delay. But, hey, never a problem to be stuck in Florida, though. So
Never.
It wasn't that bad.
Yes, better being stuck in Florida than Cleveland, Ohio. That'd be way better. Now, speaking about Florida, we're having a national championship game in Florida today. The Miami Hurricanes take on the Indiana Hoosiers at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. Brett, before we get into the game, and before we get into the portal, and before we get into the craziness that is college football, what are your thoughts about this game being played on a Monday? I know it's what we do, but it just is so weird to me still.
Yeah, well, that's just what it's evolved into. I'm not a TV networks guy or a TV exec. I don't know the numbers on that or why they picked that, but I do know one reason is they don't want to challenge the NFL's playoff system where you have games 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock yesterday on Sunday and on Saturday. So the longer that the college football playoff goes into January, you're getting into the NFL's playoff territory, and they are not going to budge. So you need to pick a weeknight. I mean, I liked how the Final Four did it with Thursday night and Friday night. Those seem to be pretty fun to do. Maybe do a Friday night college football game. In fact, speaking of Miami, the last time that there was a Friday night title game, you have to go back to Miami's last time in it when they lost the Fiesta Bowl to Ohio State 2003. I think it was a Friday night. I'd rather it be there than a Monday for sure.
All right, what are your thoughts on the game? Going to be interesting. I believe the line is. I saw that it was up to 9.5 at one point. I don't know where it moved currently. I'm looking it up now, but it's 8.5 now. Indiana, the favorites over Miami. Just what's your outlook on the game? And then secondly, just compare and contrast for me. I mean, the kind of differences these two teams have how they've built their roster in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with National Title Monday, I always like to take a big picture, big scale, think about these programs, their histories. With Miami, you got a program that's been quiet for 25 years. They're looking to end a quarter-century drought, looking to get their 6th national title, add on to that 5 they already got. Get to do so at home, and that's actually a familiar spot for them. 3 of their national titles came in the Orange Bowl, so it's rare. They're the only team in college football history to be able to have done that. So they're going for their 4th. Nobody else has ever done it once at home. So you got that. Then Indiana, they're in uncharted territory here. They're the losingest program of all time in major college football history, but don't tell that to Kirk Cignetti. He threw the record book out the window on the opening press conference, and is 26-2, 15-0 this year. And they're looking to become the sport's first new champion since 1996. It's been all repeat champs since Florida won their first in 96 with Spurrier. So some of the historical angles there, but looking at their roster breakdowns, you're right. With Mario Cristobal, it's been heavy recruiting, heavy high school recruiting, and then transfer spend the last couple cycles. It's really caught my eye in the post-Dabo Sweeney dynasty era in the ACC. It's really Miami is your program now looking at talent, and it's now coming to fruition. So, but he built it from the trenches out. Offensive line is expertise, and you're seeing that now, the defensive line as well. Indiana took a different approach. Of course, it's been well documented, but Cignetti went transfer heavy, and not just transfer heavy, but experience heavy. He looked at guys, he might have been down a level or two, but a lot of career starts, a lot of career stats, age, guys that he's coached in the past at James Madison. So a little bit different avenue here. It's not a signing day special for Indiana, but they've coached really well there, and it's a really dynamic team.
It's funny, Brett. Like, you go ahead and I'm watching that Oregon game, and Indiana's kicking the crap out of the Ducks, and you're sitting there and you're like, man, like, are we gonna have like a historical conversation about this Indiana football team? Because they've kicked the crap out of Oregon, they kicked the crap out of Alabama. They beat Oregon on the road earlier in the year by double digits. Just from like a historical perspective, if the Indiana Hoosiers were to win the national title tonight, how would we look at them from a macro college football team perspective?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I included that this week in my Pick 6 Plus report. I might actually tweet it out too. I went back and compared all national champions since 1994 via my game grader formula. It looks at statistical dominance, margin of victory, all that. If Indiana were to win, they would finish around 12th in the last 30 years. So nothing near the 2019 LSU or 2018 Clemson, but still an above average champion. Certainly notable. But hey, since I'm talking on Nebraska radio, number one in that whole era is the 95 Huskers.
Nice.
They're still the number one national champion. They just destroyed my formula there with their win over Florida in the Fiesta Bowl. So yeah, that's going to be untouchable. I don't see Indiana getting into that category.
Where do you have
Miami though?
Yeah,
they're coming in with 2 losses, and they're going to be one of the least decorated national champions if they were to win tonight. So over the course of history, it's really rare to get a 1-loss or even a 2-loss champion. So they're down there, one of the lowest rated champs of all time if they can win.
Here's a great conversation to have here, because you bring up Miami, 2-loss team, right? They lose to Louisville. They go ahead and lose to SMU. Both those games were ugly. I mean, back through 4 interceptions against Louisville? I mean, it was a tough watch. But there is a world where Miami doesn't make the college football playoff. There's a world, and there were people who believed that Notre Dame should have had their spot over them. How do we view the committee now that they put this team in? They decided, no, Miami deserves to be in the playoff over Notre Dame, and then they make the national championship. Do you think we kind of look at the committee more maybe optimistically now, or we trust them more now because of this decision?
Yeah, I think you have to. It's funny that 2 of their most controversial picks of all time won the national title. The Ohio State in the first year, 2014,
sure,
when they jumped Baylor and TCU, everyone with their third-string quarterback, everyone gave the committee some crap there, and they went out and won the national title. And then now you've got Miami. Even win or lose tonight, I think they've proven the committee right. And it was the right principle, too. I mean, the 2 teams in question was Miami and Notre Dame. Miami beat them. That should be the end of the discussion. But another thing I was thinking about in this whole process, is there ever a shot that we go back to a split national title? Because it started to catch my eye, because this Indiana team has done more than almost every national title team in history. They were 15-0. They're the last undefeated team in the country. They won their conference. They beat the defending champion. They just beat 2 recruiting giants, Alabama and Oregon, by a combined 69 points. And then you've got the other team, Miami, didn't even play for their league title. They got 2 losses to unranked teams and do not have the resume to compare. Now, I know the head-to-head thing will be a little bit contradictory, because if Miami goes and wins, but do you give Indiana some kind of a credit in the AP or the coaches poll or something like that and do a split?
Yeah.
I mean, both will be phenomenal seasons. I don't know where I stand on that. I'm kind of free thinking, but I'm wondering if there's ever an opportunity for it. You've got a team that's so far ahead resume-wise right now heading into the national title game.
That's such an interesting conversation, because I guess it is, because we're, as you know, Brett Ciancia, Middays with Matt is a principle-based show, and the principle is head-to-head, right? That's the main principle. And you're right, it is a little it's a bit of a contradiction to say, well, it doesn't matter, Miami beat them, Indiana has the better resume, but Indiana does have the much better resume. It's not even competitive in terms of what they've done and what they've accomplished this year. And you're right, in most years, just Indiana would be the national champion, end all be all, right? If we were going all the way back to the pre-BCS days. Let's go ahead and let's, we had a great conversation on this game tonight. You're right, should be about the trenches. Both teams have invested a lot in the offensive and defensive lines, and it's kind of been the bread and butter for both teams heading into this one. So it should be a very entertaining game. Let's talk about the transfer portal. What has stuck out to you? Who are some winners? Who are some losers? And what do you think? A lot of questions here, but is there kind of this is a big get, or this one is going to have a big impact on how college football is played next season?
Yeah, well, I think of course you look right away at the quarterback position. That's the headliner. That's really the quickest change to a program, and you got your headliners there. You got Sam Leavitt picking LSU. He was a top coveted quarterback in the portal. Sorsby was also highly rated. He picks Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I hate to say it here, but Dylan Raiola was also a top prospect. I was shocked to see him leave, and he landed at Oregon. But actually, the shocking part of that whole thing wasn't him picking Oregon. That's a great pick and a great fit. But the fact that Dante Moore returned, and then now you have two really headliner quarterbacks up there. What's going to happen there? Is there going to be a way out for one of them? I don't think that both are going to be there by August kickoff. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. And I know that that's now a new policy that's going to be tested here in spring. People trying to leave outside the transfer portal, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm wondering if Raiola knew that before he signed up for Oregon, but maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
And to be honest with you, I haven't dug too far into the transfer portal yet. I've been really focused on this playoff bracket, getting my Pick 6 Plus out. Looking at classes, though, some that really caught my eye was Notre Dame and Texas, Ohio State. I like looking at the per player average. See who's really upgrading their roster, and those three really stood out as high averages. So that's at a quick glance. Of course, the coaching carousel teams are going to have a lot of high ratings just on quantity alone. LSU, Oklahoma State bringing in 30 guys or something like that. So still a lot to unpack, and I can't wait to get into it. We have now 8 months until next season, and I'm going to use every second to get ready.
Yeah. So speaking about that, you bring up Oklahoma State. I've been thinking about asking this to you because everybody has said, well, Kurt Cignetti, you can't replicate it. It's Sig is Sig, right? And he's just a winner. He's great. But Oklahoma State has kind of decided to attempt to replicate it. Eric Morris, the North Texas coach, going to Oklahoma State and then bringing a lot of his team, in particularly bringing his quarterback, Drew Meskenmaker, who, if you've been following college football closely this year, you would know was, one of the best statistical quarterbacks in the league or in the country. And then on top of that, I mean, they were only one win away from Tulane from being in the college football playoffs themselves. Is Eric Morris kind of the barometer now of can you replicate what Indiana did?
Well, yeah, he's certainly taking the Cignetti playbook here, and hey, it worked for Siggy over at Indiana. What he did was he brought his great non-AQ team with him to Bloomington, and looks like that's what's happening here with Oklahoma State and Stillwater. Is that I just counted, and they got 19 North Texas players coming up with him, with the head coach, and you said it there. The headliners, the quarterback, Meskenmaker, one of the top passers in the country. He was highly coveted by everybody this transfer portal cycle. So stays with his head coach. Stays with 19 of his fellow, Mean Green Eagles going up there from North Texas. So, yeah, and you're looking at the size of this class, too. 52 incoming transfers. I mean, remember, you got 85 scholarships. So more than half of the scholarship players have been either taken out or brought in. You got 52 new ones coming in. So very impressive overnight shift. I think you're going to have at least a competitive team. I'm not calling for any kind of a playoff run. I don't think the Cignetti experience is going to be replicable. I think it's an all-time moment for the sport, but directionally, I think it's going to be an improvement for Oklahoma State and maybe get them towards bowl eligibility.
Give us your prediction of the game tonight and the score, and then we'll let you go here. We'll write it on the board to see how close you come.
Absolutely. Well, hey, 6-2 against the spread in the playoffs so far. Hoping to go 7-2, finish it strong.
Hey, your futures this year killed it, man. I saw that email. You absolutely knocked it. What you got? You went 6 for 7 on your future bets this year.
Yeah. So the win totals. Everyone likes to do season win totals. We went 6-1 with win totals, and then 6-2 in the playoff. Also hit the Miami on decision day, the plus 800 to make the bracket. That was nice.
Nice.
I trusted the committee. Everyone said not to. I said they'll do the right thing. So anyway, tonight though, the way I see it, to simplify it, I see 2 elite defenses, 1 elite offense, and 1 above average offense. I think the Miami offense is a slight weakness there for them. I'm going to call for Indiana to win it. The most dominant team, the best coach team. Indiana 27-17. They're going to cover the 8.5 and get their first national title for Kurt Cignetti.
Love it. Brett Ciancia, Pick 6 previews. All right, so we won't be talking to you for a while, and we'll bring you on when the book is about to come out. But I just want to let you know, thank you so much for coming on this entire college football season. I know we've changed hours now, but Hope to have you on next year, college football season. We can't wait to read the best preview book in the country, my man. The work that you do with Pick Six Previews, it's second to none.
Oh, thanks so much, Matt, and good luck with your new show.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll connect in the spring, man. We'll do a little spring session.
Would absolutely love that. You know what? We'll do like a little April or May thing to be like, all right, Brett, you're in the trenches. Anything surprise you? All right, so we'll do that.
Absolutely.
That'll be great. Alrighty, my friend.
Hey, enjoy the game tonight. Yep.
Thank you. You too. Go college football, and talk to you soon. I don't know, man. Like, I understand why college football has to play this game on Monday. I get it. You don't want to go head to head with the NFL. That's obvious, right? You're dead to rights if you do that. At the same time, I just feel so disconnected from the season now. You know, like I just feel, I don't know. I don't have any like emotion towards this game. I'm not like, man, to me, it's just like, a big game that happens to be on a Monday. It doesn't feel like, hey, tonight's the championship. Mark your calendar.
For me, I think that's because of the teams playing.
Yeah.
Under different circumstances, I would be excited about tonight being national championship night.
There was an On3 article that I saw on Twitter that I haven't read yet, so that's bad radio. But it was talking about the calendar, the college football calendar, and some potential changes to it. And just to me, it always roots back to this, Josh. Like, college football is the only sport where the regular season is over and then we wait like 3 weeks for the playoffs to start. Like, that just doesn't. Yeah. Every other, league, baseball season ends on a Monday. All right, playoffs begin on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
you
could absolutely have college football playoff quarterfinals the same night as the LA Bowl. It'd be fine.
It's okay, but it always
might actually help the LA Bowl, which I know no longer exists. This year was the last one, but whatever.
But it's one of those things too, where it's just like, I don't know, you just get a little disconnected from the season. And just get disconnected from the storylines, disconnected from like everything that built up to what happened. Like you kind of forget a little bit that Carson Beck had a terrible game against Louisville, and maybe he has that type of game tonight against Indiana. Or you kind of do forget that. Well, I don't think you forget anything about Indiana, but I think you get you get the point I'm trying to make. It just takes so long to decide a champion. Now I think football, it's a little different because it's just we're so used to being it week to week. Like the NBA playoffs can be long like that because it's so much better of a product of the regular season than you're like, oh my God, I want to keep watching this. It's like it's a sweet treat. But like football is so intense all the time that when you wait a long time to start your playoffs and then actually have the playoffs occur, I don't know, you lose the aura a little bit of the season. You kind of lose some things. Like to me, like the Super Bowl is like, oh my God, football's over. This sucks. This is awful. This is terrible.
I started counting down the games over the weekend.
Yeah, me too.
Like 4 or 5 games left. One of them, I think it's going to stink. I don't think Broncos Patriots is going to be a very good game.
Yeah.
So that doesn't even count as a game that's left.
I know. So you only have 2 games left, and you're kind of like, damn it. Like I don't want to lose this. Where it's like I feel like college football kind of has been over a little bit. Like I feel like it's kind of come and gone. And tonight is like to me, the Super Bowl is like an incredibly bittersweet event because it's like the pageantry of it and the beauty of it and the big game feel and the halftime show. And it's just like, you can't beat the Super Bowl, man. The Super Bowl's awesome. Like I'm never not going to watch the Super Bowl. I'm never not going to tune in, but it ends and you're like, dang, man, like, now I got to watch NASCAR on Sundays for the next 6 months. Like I got to find, man, dang, man, like I got to find new hobbies. I actually have to I actually have to do something on my Sundays. Like I have to, for some people might be like, damn it, I have to talk to my wife.
That's what I'm saying.
But like with college football, I don't know. Tonight just kind of feels like a game. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to get killed for saying that, but like, I don't know. It's such a great sport and it's such a good product that I feel like it should feel more special. And I just think it being so disconnected from like the end of the regular seasons is just kind of, it's taken away that aura that it has, So they got to fix the calendar. I mean, I think it was Dabo who said it, and I couldn't agree more. It was either Dabo or Sark, but a very highly respected college football coach said, college football should not be a 2-semester sport. I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Good way to put it.
They got to figure out. They got to figure out a lot of things. And now apparently we're making executive orders on stuff. Oh!
Cover your ears, Seahawks fans, if you exist.
Oh no!
Running back Zach Charbonnet. That's how you say it. Right? Charbonnet. Excuse me. My bad. Idiot. Out for the playoffs with a torn ACL.
You son of a gun.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I didn't do this.
No, this is your fault.
This is my fault? Please. I would love to hear this.
Sam Darnold has an oblique injury. I thought you were going to break news and say Sam Darnold tore his oblique. He's done for the year.
No,
you came in with breaking news about the Seahawks, about Zach Charbonnet?
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Everybody at home was like, oh my God, holding their hearts being like, the quarterback is out. And
I hear it now.
You tell us that the second running back is out for the year? Are you kidding me? Out of all the people, Kenneth Walker's the starter.
That's fair.
Whoa, man.
Hey, look, Kenneth Walker may be the starter, but every time I'm watching the Seahawks games, it's Zach that's scoring touchdowns.
Oh, my God. I thought you were going to say, cover your ears, Jays fans. There's a nationwide shortage of Chardonnay. That'd be tough for Creighton.
That would.
That'd be really tough. What are they? They're out of Sauvignon Blanc? What are we doing?
Be a disaster. Probably just cancel the game.
That's how Jays fans would react if there wasn't any more white wine at their games. See, now I did it. I took a low blow at Creighton fans and the quarter zip wearing, wine drinking faithful, which I have no problem with. If I'm being honest with you, it sounds great.
Those are our people.
I love Chardonnay and I love quarter zips. I also love football. We'll talk about more of that here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, time for the main event of the show.
The main event.
Talk about Nebraska football.
Football.
Go Tigers. Matt Rule. And Matt Rule's the coach of Nebraska football.
I knew
news.
that.
Breaking news. He's head coach of Nebraska football. He talked on Sports Nightly a couple of days ago. He had a lot to say. There's a lot that I want to get off my chest. That's what Matt Rule said. He got a lot off during that interview. Let's talk about the main thing that a lot of people were talking about and then the incorrect thing that he said.
Oh, no.
Okay. So the main thing that people are talking about is his comments on Mike Eckler, who Eckler at this point is firmly in between jobs. Okay. He has an offer to be, Rule said he will either be the first or second highest paid special teams coach in the country. And he reportedly has an offer to go to USC. Now, at this point, Sam McEwen, mentioned it in his article at the Omaha World Herald. Great article. Sam's awesome. And Stephen M. Sipple mentioned it in his article on On3 that a factor here is that Eckler wants to help on defense. Okay. Now, my read from it, and so Sipple wrote in his article that reportedly, and that just, he's got his ear to the ground. He knows a lot that, Eckler was seeing kind of the defense decline in the middle of the season and really wanted help. And you also got to think too that, Eckler, former linebackers coach, I'm sure has maybe thought, hey, I just want to coach defense in general. Maybe that's an itch. And this is me speculating. Maybe that's an itch that he had. And Phil Snow allowed him to scratch that itch for the bowl game because Snow said, hey, I've recruited him to help on the linebackers. And so he coached the defense in the bowl game practices. And I think, and this is me speculating, but him being a former linebacker coach, he probably had an itch to go back to coach defense. Phil Snow allowed him to scratch that itch for the bowl practices. And I think Eckler realized, wow, that felt better than I thought. Like scratching that itch was actually the right move. I did enjoy that. I do like coaching defense. And there is kind of that factor here where you have to think, and so this is coming from Sam, right? Sam wrote in his article that there is a report, an alleged report that is kind of a part of the deal at USC, that he would be able to go there and scratch that itch. And so he is firmly in between jobs. Do I stay at Nebraska and, stay at my home, stay at a place where I've built this foundation now over multiple tenures, and continue to be a special teams coach who's great at his job and is beloved by the fan base? Or do I go to USC, have the same job, and reportedly go ahead and maybe do some other things there? Go and scratch that itch of coaching defense. And it was interesting. So Matt Rule goes on Sport Nightly and establishes, hey, he's got a contract on his desk. He hasn't made a decision yet. But then what caught me is he started talking about Eckler in the past tense at times.
Oh.
And he started saying was, and he started referring to him a little bit as if we learned a lot from Eckler being here, and so that kind of struck me. It's not official, definitely is trending him going toward USC. But the money line is, he essentially said, look, if you don't want it, I don't want people who don't want to be here. I want people who want to be here, right? And I want people who want to be in the foxhole with me. That's kind of me paraphrasing what he said. And I think that definitely sends a message, of like, hey man, I like you and we appreciate everything you've done, but he goes, Rule said of Eckler, if he doesn't want to be here, that is what it is. Okay. It kind of marked in the ground there. Hey, I want people who are going to be here. If he doesn't want to be here, thank you for everything, but we want people who are committed here. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I don't have one issue. I don't have one issue with him being like, hey, dude, we gave you an extension. You have the role that you have. This is what we need you to do. If you want to do it, you want to do it. If you don't, it's fine. Like we got to move on. Like we can't sulk about it. Do I agree with him kind of laying down that marker in terms of like, no, we're not going to give you a role on defense. We're not going to give you everything that you want. Not really. I would give him everything he wants. I would, because I think that Mike Eckler is a great coach and having his hands on more things is only beneficial to the program. But I don't have an issue with Matt Rule saying, hey, I kind of laid it out what I want from him. If he doesn't want it, he doesn't want it. Okay. Here was something, though, that a lot of people got upset about, though. So he said, and this was kind of a bit of his opening remarks. He was like, look, we had a goal to be better than Iowa on special teams, and we weren't. There's still meat left on that bone. That's what he said. We had a goal, and people got really mad about that.
What did they get mad at?
Well, they got mad at I think some people looked at him throwing Eckler under the bus a little bit, being like, hey, we wanted to be better at Iowa at special teams, and you weren't. And maybe he's kind of diminishing what Eckler did.
Okay.
That's how some people took that.
That's a wild goal in 1 year.
Yeah.
To go from where
so
they
there
went.
you go. So
But-
that is the point. It's like, dude, Iowa has established this special teams over, decades.
Sure.
But
try and be better than them. And
So,
if you don't, you're top 20. That's
but
stupendous.
So people got, and I
get
think a lot of people look at the way that you look at it, right? That's kind of a crazy goal. And Mike Eckler did something that you could not do over your first 2 years, which is have really good special teams. And people go ahead, Doug in Idaho. Great comment from Doug. He goes, Eckler saved Matt Rule's ass by special teams winning 3 games. So people look at that comment and go, dude, you don't get it, man. Like, yeah, maybe he didn't reach the goal, but your ass might be grass if it weren't for him coming in and teaching, and teaching the system and coaching the system. Okay. So I understand that perspective from people, but here's my opinion on it. I didn't get fired up about that comment, and I didn't get mad about that comment, because I think all he's telling you is that, hey, we set goals here. We set goals, lofty or not, we set them, and we trying to accomplish them. And we did not accomplish that goal. And so we have, we got more work to do. I didn't really have that big of a deal with it, because I'm just saying, all right, that's just a coach who obviously set a very lofty goal, and there's still more that they have to do in order to do that. And I think that goes past just Mike Eckler. Like, I think that's a team goal. I didn't take it as, anything other than, hey, this is kind of what we want to accomplish. And you know what? We didn't accomplish it. And there's a lot left. There's a lot more work to be done there. And frankly, whether he's there or not, that's something that we still have to work toward. Okay.
I'm fine with lofty goals.
I'm fine with it too. And maybe you can, take it as, he's throwing his ass under the bus. I didn't take it that way. And I also am never really going to be overly mad at, the truth. That's the truth. They weren't better than Iowa. Before Iowa started kicking Nebraska's ass, there was a point where that game was close, and the field position game was very important, and Iowa was winning that in every regard, because you don't want to kick the ball to former Iowa Western football player Caden Weigent. By the way,
don't do that.
Have they announced the Jet Award yet?
Yes.
Oh, they did?
It
is. Michael's going to be mad at me.
Caden has won it for a second consecutive
He's
year.
awesome. He's so good. Was able to meet him last year. We interviewed him last year. His dad, what a guy.
I have hung out with his dad. Yeah.
His dad's I hung out with him for 25 minutes over at the Jet Awards. It was a great time. I'm sorry, Michael. It was announced 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
I'm a terrible friend. So he'll be back.
You're from the Michael Severe tree.
I am firmly from the Michael Severe coaching tree. But yeah, back to the point though. The truth is that they lost the battle to Iowa in the special teams department, and with or without Mike Eckler, they still have to go out there and accomplish that. And you can take it whatever way that you want, but he's not wrong. Okay. So, and also too, I don't know if people wanted Rule to go up there on Sport Nightly and be like, oh my God, I love him, and I hope he never leaves, and he's the best, and we're screwed if he's not here. Like, he was never going to say that. And it would have been even worse if he just didn't say anything, So I can look at that and say, I don't agree with the thought process of not making sure, that he stays no matter what. I can disagree with that. But what I can't disagree with is having goals, you telling the truth, and you kind of just saying, look, man, this is what we got. Like, this is your job as special teams coordinator. We brought in a new defensive coordinator. He's been able to kind of pick his coaches and pick his systems. I have to allow him to do that. Unfortunately, you weren't a part of that. If you want to be here, you can be here. We want you here. We'd love to have you here. But Mike Eckler's got to make his decisions. Once again, I disagree with those decisions that Matt Rule has made.
Complex feelings.
But I have to respect the fact that he's just being honest about it, and he's clearly laid it out, and that's his stance. I have a problem with his decision, but I don't have a problem with the way he's decided to communicate it to people. And some people did take, take his communication maybe the wrong way or had problems with his communication. I did not have a problem with his communication. I have a problem with a different thing. So when we got to the end of the year talking about Emmett Johnson, there was this whole, like Dana said it, there was this whole notion of, and Rule alluded to it as well, of like the hot hand. We were riding the hot hand. Emmett got hot. And so we couldn't run it with Mosey. And we didn't want to run it with Mackay. Bull freaking crap. No. Don't go ahead and tell me that Mackay Nelson and Isaiah Mosey didn't get carries because Emmett got hot. Let me tell you something right now. I did my research here. I did my homework. Okay. He had every carry from a running back except for 2 against Cincinnati. And he had 4.3 yards per carry. That's not a hot hand. Okay. 4.3 yards is not being hot. Okay. He had all but 4 carries from the running back position against Michigan. He had 19 carries that game. He had 3.4 yards per carry. That ain't the hot hand. Okay. Emmett did get hot eventually, and they kept giving him the ball. I would argue more so because he's just by far their best offensive weapon. But don't put sugar on a bunch of bull crap and tell me it's a brownie. Okay? That's not what happened. You gave the ball to Emmett Johnson over and over and over and over again because he's just way better than the 2 other guys that you were running. And you didn't run the ball with the 2 other guys because they weren't good enough. And not only were they not good enough to compete with Emmett, they just weren't good enough to have the ball in their hands to begin with. Because Nebraska football, like a guy in the desert needs water, needs more dynamic offensive football players.
Oh, yeah.
Needs it desperately. And so if you're telling me that Mackay Nelson, had the potential to be a dynamic offensive football player, I don't care that he's behind Emmett Johnson. You got to get that guy the ball. And if they felt that way, it's either, one, they don't feel that way, or number 2, it's coaching malpractice. I think it's the former. I just don't think Mackay Nelson currently right now, is a dynamic offensive football player. Okay. I don't. I did not see any of it during the regular season to make that claim. And I understand, like, he had he had a great touchdown run against Utah, but I'm not going to sit here and say, man, he looked really fast against one of the worst rush defenses in the country. Man, he's the guy. He's the dude. He can be awesome. No, I think that would be incorrect to say that. And so I don't think you can communicate to me that, we only ran Emmett because he had the hot hand. And then he goes ahead and says in Sport Nightly, no, we're not going to address the running back. We feel great about what we got there. Dude, I don't know about that. I'm not.
Yikes.
You took a wide receiver from high school and you made him into a running back. Okay. Who looked like a wide receiver playing running back a lot during the year. You have Herschel Walker.
Oh?
No, Quinton Ives. I'm sorry. But they talk about him like he's Herschel Walker. And this was he had a wide open opportunity for him to go ahead and get more carries this year. And he didn't. And now you got this Makai guy who, man, he looked good against Utah. He showed some flashes. He looked like he can be something. But we're once again entering, Big Ten play, or, entering another football season where you're like, I don't know if Nebraska has a top 10 running back in the Big Ten. Now, we didn't believe that with Emmett. We were like, I don't know if Emmett's a frontline guy. And Emmett went ahead and he shoved in a lot of people's faces. And you know what? If I'm eating crap this time next year because Makai Nelson had a awesome season, I will take it. I will gladly eat that crap. But I don't agree with looking at this roster and looking at the trust level of these players and looking at what these players contributed in the running back room and saying, no, we're good.
It's that development piece that we just haven't seen.
I'm not at practice, okay? I don't see these guys run every day.
Okay.
But I can tell you this, trust and belief is communicated through playing time in important moments. And in important moments and important games, those two guys weren't out of the field. Okay? They preferred to run Emmett Johnson into the ground when he wasn't even playing well playing great against Cincinnati and Michigan than use those two guys. So I don't know. Are you trying to sell yourself on the running back room? Are you trying to manifest that the running back room is going to be great? Are you saving money? I just don't. When we went through the shopping list for the transfer portal, the number one need was defensive line. They went out, they got some guys. The number two need, that was running back. And they decided not to get there. And to get that. And at the same time, guys, this is a team that apparently wants to run the football and be physical and have that be their next identity. Well, you need a good running back to do that. And I'm not saying Makai Nelson or Isaiah Mosey can't be good. I'm not saying that they're not going to be good. What I'm just telling you is that Nebraska has not given themselves the most optimal chance to have an impactful running back room through the transfer portal cycle. And that's malpractice.
I'd be curious for a little truth serum on Matt Rule and how the percentage breakdown of rushing yards from the running back position and how much you're counting on Big Tone to run the football next season.
We'll see. We'll see. It's just I'm baffled that they did not go out and get a running back in the portal. I'm baffled by that.
He seems to have that NFL mentality of running back is not important. We can
because they're
piece that
obsessed with the
together.
markets.
Yeah.
They're obsessed with the markets, and the markets aren't. Yeah, you're right on that. It's just one of those things, man, where I'm like, I can't believe you looked at the roster. You didn't even give yourself another shot at potentially finding someone who could become good. Like
this is good. This is good right here. We got it.
We watched this team all season long, and anybody who watched this team said, "Wow, where would they be without Emmett Johnson? They need to go out and get somebody who can fill that type of hole." And they did not in the transfer portal. Quasi Gilmore, he can be good, he can be fast, he could be dynamic, could be, but not. And they didn't even give themselves an opportunity in the running back room. That is wild. All right, we're going to give you an opportunity to email in here and read your stories. The Houston Texans, I don't know. I haven't seen an update on it. We'll find it during the break, but I'm almost positive they still might very well be in New England. They were in New England as early as 8 o'clock today because they cannot get out. Just the weather is terrible, which made me think, man, a lot of people have some terrible nightmare travel stories. Email your travel stories in. Matt at 1620 The Zone, Joshua at 1620 The Zone. We're going to read them and laugh at them and relate to them here next on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
A consultation at Sedora Law Group isn't a formality, it's a strategic session with experienced trial attorneys who've handled felony charges, DUI cases, and complex litigation for individuals and corporate clients. Experience matters. At the Sedora Law Group, that experience focuses on what matters most in court: posture, presentation, and legal credibility. Schedule a consultation at sedoralaw.com. That's SODORO law.com. When your family, freedom, or finances are on the line, your outcome depends on what you do next. Visit sedoralaw.com.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
So, the Houston Texans took off yesterday at 1:45. They were in the air, and they got diverted to New York Airport. I can't say that. New York, Newark. Newark. You can't do it. Anyway, they apparently, according to Diana Rossini this morning, they were still at the airport. I have not found anywhere on Twitter that they've left. I also haven't found anywhere on Twitter that they're still there. It would be an absolute travesty if that were still the case. So we gave you a task at the beginning of the show. Hey, go ahead, email in your worst travel stories, because everybody has a terrible travel story where you are just stuck and you can't go anywhere. The flight gets canceled, or you're next to a bigger individual and you're in the middle, or you're somebody's farting on the plane and it smells, or the baby is crying, or you got some really annoying nosy person that won't stop talking to you the entire time. Flying is awful. Traveling is terrible. Okay, it's just the entire experience. It was funny talking to Connor Happer. He was like, it's funny being on like the tube of death is like the best part of the flight sometimes.
He loves flying and airports and all those other weird things.
Sindelar emails in nightmare travel story. Years ago,
Sindelar.
I was working for a very well-known logistics company during the holidays. I was thrusted into action during a holiday party, forcing me to leave the love of my life behind, finding myself in an emergency transatlantic flight that crashed during a hellacious storm.
Crashed?
What? Wait, no, this is okay. Sindelar just had me read.
Wait, is this
Castaway?
Is this Castaway?
Yeah, I got halfway through before I realized this is Castaway. I got.
Good bit. Thank you, Alex.
Use that for a promo. Andy emails in. United Airlines landed us in Omaha from Denver at about 4 p.m. on April 26, 2024. We taxied off the runway, and they stopped the plane on the tarmac about 100 yards from the building due to the storms in the area. As we sat on the tarmac facing south, a large tornado dropped down about a quarter of a mile east of us on the other side of the runway. It proceeded to go from south to north, destroying the hangars with the private jets, and eventually went back up. All of us on the plane had no choice but to sit there and watch. All of this, we were on the plane sitting out there during, what is the sentence? We were the only plane sitting out there during this event. We have photographic and video evidence. Apparently, United has no protocol for tornadoes. I've been in Omaha most of my life, and that was the first tornado I've ever seen. Andy, spaced out this email very weirdly. It was hard to read. But that's correct. Is that another story? Is that another movie that I got sitting on a plane and looking at a tornado tear up a bunch of hangars? That's got to be a life-altering, life-changing experience.
That'll change you for sure.
I was more so thinking hey, you had a crink in your neck, the entire flight, and you couldn't move, and you were sat next to somebody who was smelly and annoying. I wasn't expecting, I was on a flight and tornado tore up the airport while I was just sitting there hoping, hey, I hope the tornado doesn't come over here and end my life.
That would be bad.
That'd be awful. Can you imagine that? I'm not going to go down that road. That'd be a dark road. But still, that'd be awful. Kenneth writes in.
Hi, Kenneth.
I was flying to Vegas. I got seated next to folks who were last on the plane. I was sitting on the window, and they asked my buddy who was sitting in the aisle to switch so they could sit together in the same row. They very clearly and obviously just got done smoking what I can only assume was an entire dispensary, and came fully equipped with fresh Subway footlongs with all the fixins and a bag of chips.
Oh, hello.
They proceeded to inhale their sandwich and fall out for a post-Sammy nap. About 20 minutes later, something happens where she needed to get out of the middle seat and into the aisle, and all of a sudden her man wasn't responding. He ate his footlong and fell asleep so fast that he choked. What? That he choked himself on a sandwich mid-flight and was asphyxiating.
Whoa, man, you got to swallow before you go to sleep.
Well, to make a long story short, he ends up coming to in a panic and throws up his half-digested sandwich, which then makes his lady throw up hers.
You go, I go.
Back to her Subway bag, which is now physically touching my leg.
Oh, no.
I felt that woman's vomit bag fill up. Anyway, Buddy paid for her drinks on the flight and the rest of the night in Vegas. So yeah, good luck topping this one. Oh my God. Kevin writes in. This is crazy.
Good luck following that, Kevin.
Dude, this is ridiculous. I mean, I feel lucky. I feel lucky I haven't experienced any of this stuff. Kevin goes, the time I was in the army heading to Saudi Arabia for Desert Storm out of Germany, we got to the Air Force Base to fly out of a huge plane, C-141, with all of my army gear on, ready to go. As always in the military, hurry up and wait. Yeah, hurry up and wait. Waited over 2 hours to board the plane. Get packed in like sardines. Sat on the plane for over an hour. We were informed that we had to get off the plane. Something was broken. So we had to go back in the waiting for another 2 hours. They said it was good to go, and we all loaded back on the same plane, waited another hour or so, and again was informed the plane was broken, and to get off the plane and wait for another available plane, which took a couple of hours. Finally, get on the plane, still packed in like sardines on comfortable benches, and finally took us off. Plus, I had to sit next to the guy who was airsick and puked, still hungover. 7 hours later, then landed Saudi Arabia and had to wait out for transportation buses, which was over 2 hours. The bus finally comes, and we get aboard, and we travel, and the rear axle breaks. We slide and swerve and barely missed the telephone poles. Then we had to wait another 2 hours for another bus to come get us, and eventually made it to our destination. It was a great way to start my adventure in Desert Storm.
We need to take better care of our soldiers.
Jeez, dude. I was going to say, like I told you before, I was just stuck on a plane for 3 hours, and they wouldn't let me go to the Chili's and drink. That was my worst travel story. God bless you all. And good for you for surviving all of that. So, That was fun. That was as fun as I thought it would. I think we're getting a call in. We'll take that next. It's probably about a travel story. But up next, it's a segment that's better than the rest. It's a segment by our very own Josh Odson that can't be topped. No one can ever top it. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's the Odd News with Josh Odson. That's coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
John Higgins Weather Guard, Omaha's roofing, gutter, and siding company.
With WeatherGuard and the Higgins family, you don't just get a company, you get a family who is connected to Omaha, invested in Omaha, gives back to Omaha. And so you see that pride of ownership, not just in their company and the work that they do, but their pride and ownership in the community.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the Wolverines.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Odson.
You heard the intro. Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone, and we are doing the Odd News, baby, with Josh Odson. Josh?
Yes.
What's happening in Odd News?
Well, we begin the Odd News today in Arizona. Ever heard of it?
I have heard of it.
Okay, good for you. Wilt Chamberlain numbers aren't supposed to happen in high school until Arizona baller had his way. No relation to Mike. Adrian Stubbs. That's the guy's name.
Awesome.
He went bananas and made history by scoring 100 points in 3 quarters in a high school basketball game. The senior guard said it feels very unreal, very unbelievable. Shots were falling this game more than they usually do. Well, really, good quote. That's why you never interview players, people. Stubbs started cooking early and never let up. He had 70 points by halftime on his way to the century mark, scoring all but 9 points in his team's 109-25 victory.
Wow. That's embarrassing.
His previous career high was 56. The state record was 57.
By Nico.
And 75 was the state record. The class record was 57.
You know what? I couldn't help but think of the other. So I read the story on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't help but think of the other team while I was reading the story because, to be beaten 109-25, that's not a surprise. And what I mean by that is, well, I'm saying that's not a surprise for the team that got beaten by 84 points. And the reason is because I've been on bad teams before in hockey. And you walk into the rink and you're like, there's no way around it. Like, we're going to get our ass kicked tonight. Like, it's just, you just kind of walk in and you're like,
sure.
I'm going to play my best and I'm going to try hard and everything. But like, we're just not going to win. And so they had to have walked in there thinking, all right, yeah, we're going to lose. And this Stubbs guy is probably going to have a good game. But I can't help but feel for them to be the main guy guarding that dude in your entire life. You're going to be like, remember when Stubbs dropped 100 on you? Like, that is so embarrassing. That is so wildly embarrassing.
I'm not saying you got to go and start a brawl, but you need to foul him and foul him hard and put him on his rear so that he says, I don't know, God. I don't know, coach. I think it's pretty much in hand. Why don't I take a seat?
I'm just saying, like, like you would be known for that forever if that happened at my high school.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you were a part of the team that a guy scored 100 points at 3 quarters on you in high school. Like, aren't high school quarters like 8 minutes?
That's a great question.
Like, that's crazy. That's
Where's
ridiculous.
Austin?
Well, when's Austin when you need him? That's a good point.
I mean, he scored all but 9 of the team's points and had 100 after 3 quarters.
You think they were doubling him? At what point did they say, yeah, I should probably double that guy?
It's a fair question. I would like to know what I believe it's pronounced Kofa High, Kofa, Kofa High. I'd like to know what they were doing.
All right, next story.
We go to the skies, the airways, airlines. They're saving money like never before, Matt.
Oh, are they now? Are
Yes.
they making you stand up now on flights?
No, they are crediting GLP-1 medications. That would be like your Ozempic, whatever you want to call them.
The P1.
Yes. For slimming down American Airlines passengers. And I don't mean the brand American Airlines. I mean airline passengers in the country of America.
Oh, okay.
Because the lighter loads, so to speak, are saving them money on fuel.
That's crazy. So America is skinnier.
Yes.
And so airlines are benefiting from that. I never thought that I've never seen an Ozempic commercial and thought, man, that's going to be great for United.
This is going to be great for business.
Dude, Delta's loving this. We go, B. They're loving this.
Weight loss drugs like Ozempic on track to save U.S. airlines more than $500 million in fuel costs this year.
That's wild.
Whoa.
That is crazy.
I mean, I guess good job. We're all
great
a little
job.
healthier.
Yeah.
We're all saving money. What's the downside, right?
I refuse to comment on any sort of potential downside because I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
But I've always,
Good.
I guess there's
Good
an
on you.
old fashioned way of losing weight, nowadays. But hey, good for airlines, I guess, and good for America for not weighing as much. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to shame people.
No, it's your choice. Your body, your choice.
There you go.
Matt, before we do the final story, there's a little background information you need to know.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. Love backgrounds.
Are you familiar with teen mom and 16 and pregnant star, quote unquote, Farrah Abraham?
I've heard of Farrah before.
Okay.
Yes.
She's from just across the river here in Council Bluffs.
Oh, she's from around. I did not know she
Yes.
was from around here.
Yes.
Okay.
So
fair,
that is why we do this story here. for you
okay.
today.
All right.
She now lives in Austin, Texas.
A lot of people do. People love moving to Texas.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a trendy thing now. Like there's the trend to like get in shape and post it all on Instagram and make everybody know that you're having a better life. There's also the trend of I'm going to move to Texas. A lot of very famous people have done that.
She's doing it. Reality TV to politics, not an uncommon route, but Farrah Abraham put her toe in the water last week when she submitted her candidate paperwork to run for the mayor of Austin. However, she learned on a TMZ interview Thursday that the race is not until 2028.
Yeah. I saw that.
She said her team refiled the paperwork earlier in the day to, hey, why don't we switch that from mayor to one of the city council seats that's up for grabs? Why don't I run for that?
And then work your way up.
Yeah, while I still have some time. She says she's very serious about this. She loves the city. She wants to get involved and help the city live and breathe.
Do you know how many years she's been in Austin? She
moved to Austin in 2013. I actually do have that information.
Okay, cool. I accept this though.
She's not a Johnny come lately to Austin.
Sure. Because I was gonna say, man, if like you just move somewhere and then you want to like your power move is to become mayor of the place you have to connect with the people. The fact that she's been there for an extended period of time, good for Farrah.
Farrah grew up in Council Bluffs, moved to Austin in 2013. Her website currently promotes her as a life coach, stand-up comedian, and OnlyFans model.
Jeez, all right. Well, I was gonna ask. I was assuming that's probably in the resume.
Oh, are you not familiar with the videotape?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not overly familiar with Farrah Abraham.
Her family makes a spaghetti sauce as well.
What? Is her maiden name Ragu?
A lot of people have called her that.
Prego?
Prego.
Farrah Prego?
Farrah Prego.
That's a good one. So we were talking about events that I wasn't really like alive or conscious for, right? That's always a fun subject with me.
Yeah.
How was it? Because this will make it feel old. I was only 1 year old when Arnold Schwarzenegger became the governor of California.
Whoa.
What was that like when he ran for it and got elected for it? And did it go? I don't think it went well, right? I mean, it wasn't very long of him being the governor.
When they recalled the governor at the time, the sitting governor.
Okay.
And every C-list celebrity in the world, like Gary Coleman. Are you familiar with Gary Coleman?
I do know Gary Coleman.
Like, I'm going to run for governor. Every one of Farrah Abraham's coworkers, quote unquote, was like, I'm gonna run for governor of California. And Arnold did, and we kind of thought he was in that group too, but turns out he was like married to a Kennedy, kind of knew his stuff.
Oh, really?
Was the biggest celebrity. I don't know, like, did it go well or not? I don't know. Probably depends on which side of the aisle you're sitting on. But I definitely, the whole time, this happened when I was in like high school. I think.
Sure.
I was like, that dude wants to be president. He can't, but
he can. No,
he's gonna try. He's gonna try and change the laws and get elected president.
Like the governor of California, that's no small potato.
Right. It's not like Rhode Island where you're like, hey, there's a cat stuck up in the tree. Like, we need you to go get it. You're the governor.
A governor of any state is like, there's only 50 of them. You know, you have 435 House of Representatives. You have 100 senators, but you only have 50 governors. To be the governor of the state is a really big deal. And so from my perspective, I'm like, how did Arnold Schwarzenegger get, and he had it apparently for 6 years. That's a very high ranking role in politics. How did you just get that? 2003 to 2009, he was the governor of California.
Best man for the job.
That is wild. So I was wondering if there was a whole big backstory, and man, this was incredible, or like the, feeling within the, like, I wanted to know how it was like being in that moment, because I was one.
It was pretty wild. Just every day it was a new celebrity wanted to be governor of California.
That'd be really funny if I lied right now and I was like, I knew Arnold Schwarzenegger as a governor growing up and not the actor.
Never seen any of his films.
Being the governor, I was, when I saw the Terminator, I go, the governor?
The actor?
The actor? The New York financier, Jeffrey Epstein? I'll admit, I haven't talked to Jeff since about COVID. I haven't spoken with him. If anything happened to Jeff Epstein, I'd know. That's an all-time bit/video there.
Great video.
Incredible. I hope it. Hey, there's no way that it is not a bit, by the way.
Oh, you don't think that was real?
No, there's no way. There's no shot. There's no shot in hell that actually happened.
Interesting.
Hey, a news that everybody wants to hear. It's so frustrating how far this event has fallen. The 2026 East NBA All-Stars starters were announced.
What?
Yeah.
Today?
Today. Did you have any idea that was happening?
No.
I didn't even think about the All-Star game at all. That was like a that was a thing that was
Did
gonna
they
occur.
announce it before the game on Peacock?
Is it on Peacock?
The first game of the day is on Peacock. Spoiler alert for what to watch.
Oh, okay.
Big MLK Day quadruple header starts on Peacock.
So they don't do like positions anymore with the All-Stars as well. Like this is so dumb because they have Jalen Brunson guard, Tyrese Maxey guard, Cade Cunningham guard, Jaylen Brown 3, and then they have Giannis. So you have 3 guards in a small, like who's playing the 4? That makes no sense.
The NBA Showtime crew announces the Eastern Conference All-Star starters.
Who cares? That event used to matter. That event used to mean something. And now it's just I couldn't give less of a rat's ass.
I liked when they did the Elam ending.
Yeah, that was one good year.
Yeah.
Now it is funny when people try and like discredit LeBron because they hate LeBron. They try throwing the All-Star game in there. They're like, everybody played really hard when Michael was there because they respected Michael because he was a killer. People don't respect LeBron James, which is why they don't play the All-Star game hard. I just don't think they play the All-Star game because they don't care.
Yeah.
So
why get hurt?
Why get hurt? Why
Cade
lose
Cunningham
money?
is an All-Star starter.
Oh, he's awesome.
He is awesome.
having a
This
great
team's
year.
number 1 in the conference. I just didn't know if the public would be backing him.
Clay Kubiak. There's a lot of Kubiaks in football. Clay Kubiak is going to get interviewed by the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay. That's a little update there. I think Clint Kubiak is having an interview today as well. So Clint and Clay.
Oh, my guy Jaylen Brown's on the starters.
I know. I told you. Is he going to play the 4? That makes no sense. Nothing in the NBA makes sense.
I didn't mean to bounce back and forth on you. Sorry.
No, you're good, but that's frustrating. All right, we're going to go to the phone line. Denver Broncos fan Eric is on the line. Hopefully he's still there. Eric, congratulations, but I'm sorry. Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah. Okay. How you feeling?
Little painful.
Yeah. Your feeling or Bo Nix's ankle?
Bo Nix's ankle a little bit painful. That hurts a little bit because he actually had a really good game there on Saturday.
So how are you feeling about Stiddy?
Stiddy, there's a reason why we didn't trade him away because a lot of teams came calling for him.
Yeah, sure.
Before the season started because he could be a number 1 quarterback in the NFL given the right opportunity. Well, he was just given the right opportunity.
So do you think do you actually believe in all your heart this could be a Nick Foles 2.0 situation?
It's possible. It is.
Okay.
Sean Payton will coach him up.
Okay.
And he'll have everybody ready. We did get J.K. Dobbins back, but they tried to hold him out one more game just so that he was fully healthy.
Yeah, you're really crossing your fingers hoping they play J.K.
We didn't need him.
You didn't need
Saturday,
him?
thank
Well,
God.
Yep.
We didn't. We made it.
Yep, you did make it.
We made it to the championship, the AFC championship. I truly believe everybody saw the Super Bowl on Saturday.
Oh, you think Saturday is the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Saturday was the Super Bowl. Man.
Oh, it
That
was.
two teams that were fighting toe to toe,
Whoa.
head to head, in
Wow.
the ring, ready
To call a divisional round game the Super Bowl is kind of wild.
Hey, I truly believe the Patriots. My offense will get the Patriots defense. I'm not worried about that. My Denver defense is time to rock and roll. Your
All right.
quarterback went down. It's time to take over.
Won't be the first time that the Denver Broncos won a Super Bowl in the 2000s with a crappy quarterback.
Exactly.
Done it before. This defense,
Point
though,
proven.
this defense, though, not as good as 2015. Thank you for the call, Eric, and congrats, but sorry. It's the best way of putting it. Best way of putting it. Great job, but yeah, Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, that kind of sucks. Hey, you want to feel old?
Mike Vrabel's penis is in jeopardy.
Jesus,
it is.
Big Cat's pinky finger no longer in jeopardy. He had to chop off his pinky if the Texans ended up winning the Super Bowl.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, I know that's like just the tip of the pinky. But
Pretty comfortable bet.
Yeah, he would have had to gone to like Turkey to get that done. So would have been wild. If you want to feel old, Elijah Arenas, yes, the son of NBA guard Gilbert Arenas, is making his debut on Wednesday. So there we go. We got another.
What?
They're duplicating, man. All of these athletes' kids who, by the way, Elijah Arenas is the truth. He was a former 5-star prospect. So watch out for that. We got a boozer playing. We got 2 boozers playing in college basketball. We got an Arenas playing in basketball. We have a Kendall Gill's kid. Phoenix is on the Northwestern basketball team. That's kind of a deep hole. But we got all these former athletes, other kids. They're all growing up and being studs. NBA West All-Stars were announced.
Yeah. This is a better team.
This is a team. This is a team. This is awesome.
Now, the format is USA versus the world, so I don't know. I don't know if this is the team.
No, that's next year. I think
that's next year.
I'm pretty because Sham said, or is that next?
Because they're tweeting out USA versus the world stuff.
I thought it was. I just assumed because it was the West All-Stars.
Is Steph Curry not of America?
No, he's very American.
That's what I thought.
He's Captain America.
He's with a bunch of foreigners on this team.
Okay, wait. While the idea of a USA versus international players all-star game format has been talked about for years, 2026 felt like the right time. Okay, so it is going to happen. So, but I guess they're just saying these are the representatives from the East and West.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to establish. You know what? Maybe for contracts, right? Because if you're an all-star, so that makes sense. Okay, so here, the West NBA
I don't know
All-Star
that this 5 would lose to anyone ever.
Luka Doncic at the 1, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the 2. Steph Curry. Okay, so they'd probably go. Sorry. The team is Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Stephen Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Victor Wembanyama. That is that's insane. I don't know. You're right. That team would not lose a game.
82-0.
What you would have to do is you'd have to put Curry at the 1 and SGA at the 2, and then have Luka play the 3 and be a point forward. And then Jokic at the 4 and Wembanyama at the 5. That is so the NBA West All-Star starters would beat the East All-Star starters by 20.
Yeah.
There's Brunson, Antetokounmpo, Maxey, Cunningham, and Brown versus Doncic, Alexander, Curry, Jokic, and Wembanyama is wild. That'd be an ass whooping for the ages.
B2A.
BTA. Do you know who's been going BTA to everybody in the Big Ten? The Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yes.
Kicking everybody's ass. We're going to talk to somebody who's been on the front lines for it all this season. Robin Washut of On3 coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
It is Matt here on 1620 The Zone. We are getting on breeze. Robin Washut up and moving in the pen to talk about Nebraska basketball, who got ranked 7th in the AP poll today. Low, too low. Should have been 6. They were 6 in the net ranking. They've been not only winning games, but kicking teams' asses and taking names, along with just beating some of the best teams in the Big Ten. Let's be real here. Nebraska basketball went on the road to Champaign, beat Illinois. Illinois has not lost since that game. Illinois is a really, really good team, and Nebraska took their best punch, honestly, and ended up being victorious. And they've been victorious all season long, 18-0. Covering them from on 3 hey, this is a great question for you, Robin Washut, because today we talked about the Houston Texans are having a nightmare travel scenario. You've been traveling a lot for Nebraska basketball games. Do you have a nightmarish travel story to share?
Fortunately, not from this year.
Okay.
But kind of isolating it to Nebraska basketball travel. I don't know if it'll ever top the Iowa game from a couple years ago out in Iowa City, where there was a big snowstorm projected to roll through basically across the Midwest. And rather than be like, you know what, maybe I should just, cover this one off TV. It's fine. Like, I don't need to go that badly. I decided to not only do it, but also go the day before. So I stayed an extra night to beat the storm. Well, the storm hit, and it ended up snowing like over 20 some inches.
Oh my God!
Over the course of like 24 hours, and like interstates were closed. It was basically like they're debating like if they're still going to play the game, but luckily Nebraska was there, so they still played it, and it was just a mess all the way through. And I ended up getting snowed in because of the interstates being closed.
Oh my God!
For like the next like day and a half after that too. So it like one trip that was supposed to be like an in and out ended up being like a 4-day excursion, snowed in Iowa City. That hopefully will never happen again. That's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, I can think about 1,000 better places to be snowed in America than Iowa City. So that's a tough one. I'd love to get snowed in Tampa. That'd be fun. Let's talk about this team. 18-0. 11 o'clock. That's the hour on Middays with Matt. Robin, where we bitch, moan, and complain, and then we don't bitch and moan after 11. That's our rule here. But last week I was bitching about the whole belt to ass thing because, if you beat a team by 3, you can't say BTA, right? You can only say BTA when you win by 20. Well, Nebraska won by 19 and they won by 30 against Oregon. They are, bringing BTA against these teams. I have to ask you, and I'm going to come in with a big question here, Robin. Have you watched this team and at all thought, oh my God, they might play in the Final Four. They might play for a national championship.
The kind of way I'm conditioned over the previous 17 seasons, it's just really hard for me to like jump that far ahead.
Sure.
At the same time, every time I think that, maybe the ceiling has been reached for this group, they just keep pushing it higher and higher and higher. So, I'm not going to rule it out. I wouldn't rule out anything with this team. With the way that they're playing right now, with the makeup of the group that they have and all the different ways that they can win, most importantly, the fact that they can carry that defense to any gym in America and play at an elite level.
Yes.
That in itself is going to give them a chance against anybody.
Yeah.
So they've got the makeup to not only win a game for the first-time program history, but potentially win a few of them. And if you get hot and you get the right matchups, literally anything can happen. But, the seasoned Nebraska basketball follower, writer, all that stuff, just makes it hard for me to like dive head first into that kind of talk. But at this point, I'm not ruling anything out.
They were mocked by Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology to be a 2 seed and play North Dakota State and Oklahoma City. And then funny enough, I don't know if you saw this, Robin, but according to Lunardi, they would play the winner of UCF and Texas A&M, which is just chef's kiss for adding fuel to some rivalries. Out of all the things that have happened this year, with this team and maybe things developing the way that really nobody foresaw. Was depth something that you thought that this team could have? Because they have it, and they have it in spades.
Yeah, well, I guess the interesting thing is I thought that their depth would be more of a factor. When you look at the last couple, out in Northwestern, they played 7 guys.
Yeah.
And against Indiana, they played 8 guys, with Jared Garcia being the 8th,
Mm-hmm.
and he played 5 minutes. So I mean, like, when it comes down to the nitty gritty here, they have the pretty short rotation that they've been leaning on. So going into the year, the big question was, well, how are they going to trim this thing down? They've got all these players that you could make a case that they had 10, 11 guys that could either be in the rotation or even make a case for a starting spot. And now that's kind of been dwindled down to 7 of that key group. So for me, that's kind of the more surprising thing, that there are some players that I thought would be bigger factors that, really just haven't been in the equation whatsoever. Obviously, Ugidius Jurasevicius with his back, I thought he was going to play a ton.
Sure.
Hasn't been in the equation. Kendall Blue, I thought he was going to play a ton. And I think just the transition to this jump up has been maybe a little bit more than most were expecting. So he's kind of been phased out a little bit. So, and then you didn't know what to think about, like, Aleo Curtis. So the fact that they've got guys that potentially could expand that rotation, but they've kind of figured out who their core group is. I guess not only the fact that they pared it down, but they pared it down to really 7, maybe 8 guys with a bench that we thought was going to be the deepest Fred's ever had here. Is probably the most surprising development for me.
Yeah, I mean, you had, like you said, that you're starting 5 in Sanford, Hoiberg, Mask, Lawrence, Buchengel, and then Frager and Jacobson coming off the bench, and then Jared Garcia kind of played a spot minute. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things with this team, Robin. It's just like anybody can really have a game at any point. You can have the Jamarcus Lawrence game, you can have the Frager game, you can have the Mask game. We've seen plenty of Sanford games. How did he go under the radar, Price? Like, what was your read on him coming into this year? And I mean, why was he overlooked? I mean, there were 2 guys on that Iowa roster who got paid, who were bigger gets for other teams, and it seemed like just very under the radar. They picked up Price, and he's shooting like one of the best players in the Big Ten right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was he was a bit overshadowed on that roster.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, his brother,
Great point.
Main piece of that, and then Owen Freeman, and then Joe. That just played bigger roles, and Price was kind of relegated to this corner spot and shoot guy.
Yeah.
Which, obviously he's good at that, but as he's shown this year, there's a whole lot more to his game just wasn't getting untapped at Iowa. And maybe it would have been this year. I don't know. But I know that when he hit the portal, the biggest thing he was looking for was the opportunity to showcase that he's more than just some, catch and shoot complimentary piece. Obviously the 3-point shot is a big part of what he's brought to Nebraska, but you see the way that he gets to the rim. And
great point.
I think he's been a much better defender than people thought that he could be. So just the way that his game has expanded in Fred's system, that was kind of the ideal scenario for him when he hit the portal, to find that type of situation. That for it to be at Nebraska, he only took 1 visit. I mean, Illinois was sniffing around late, but I don't know if they really ever had a legitimate chance. I think it was always Nebraska, because he was really close to committing to Nebraska out of high school, and had his brother not been playing at Iowa already, maybe he ends up a Husker right out of the gate.
Sure.
When the second chance came around, Nebraska was the first coaching staff to call him, and they prioritized him. Say, you're the number 1 guy on our board. And that relationship picked up where it left off. And it was kind of, Nebraska was the team to beat from the moment that Price became available. So I think it's partly that Nebraska had an upper hand in an established relationship, and the opportunity for him on the court to be the type of player that he wanted to become. But then also that no other school really had a chance, because, like I said, Nebraska was always the front runner, and didn't really have much opportunity for others to get involved.
Do you think that Nebraska is going to have to hold on tight to Nate Lesnar as he's just having a great year as an assistant coach, and potentially could get Poach could go and maybe, be a head coach somewhere else, and even other assistants? Do you think Nebraska might have some trouble holding on to this coaching staff heading into next season?
Yeah, they might. And that's kind of the cost of success a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially with what Nate's done for Nebraska defensively and all the national attention Nebraska's getting. A lot of it comes down to how connected they are on defense.
Yeah.
How seamless they are on that end of the floor. Nate gets a lot of the credit, as he should.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of his brainchild with what Nebraska's doing defensively. And so, yeah, I mean, he'll probably get opportunities. He was a head coach in the G League. He's shown that he's capable of doing that. So I think it would have to be a good opportunity. He's not just going to take a head coaching job and take a head coaching job because, he really likes it here. Obviously, he's got a great relationship with Fred going back decades.
Yeah.
And he's just, his family's in a good spot here. So, there's, a lot of reason for him to stay. But if he gets, what he would consider a good opportunity, it wouldn't surprise me if he took it. And, Ernie Ziegler, he's been a head coach before. I think that he's probably still got that itch before he's done to give it one more crack to lead a program.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, I don't think that it's a situation where these guys are just looking for any opportunity. If
Sure.
the right chance comes along,
Mhm.
yeah, they're going to listen. And, yeah, there's a chance that they might move on and try to take over their own program. But I think if anything else, Fred's shown a pretty good knack of identifying really good assistant coaches.
Yeah.
Pat Monahan, his newest hire, has been outstanding for them. It doesn't get enough attention. With Nate and Ernie getting a lot of the talk, Pat Monahan's been a critical piece to not just for future recruiting down the road. So if they do lose some of these guys, an established program now over the last three or 4 years where they know what they want, they know what they want to be, they know the types of players they want, and then that translates into the type of coaches that Fred wants, the guys that are going to continue to deliver the consistent message that has gotten Nebraska to this point, from everyone down in that staff.
And to add to your point, right, if you become a program where your coaching staff gets poached to become head coaches, it makes it more attractive, right, to become a head coach or assistant.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So that young and upcoming talent is going to say, hey, we're going to work for Fred Hoiberg, who's got a top 10 basketball program that just got 2 coaches hired away for head coaching jobs.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be an attractive opportunity.
1,000,000%. I used to say all the time, the best job in sports has to be the Golden State Warriors assistant coaching position, because you were just you do there and you do nothing, and you let Curry and Clay and Draymond just go and win titles, and then you go ahead and you become the Sacramento Kings head coach. It feels like how that always worked out. Let's move to football. Just one football question here before I let you go. You're a very level-headed guy. I think that's one of your great attributes. I'd love to get your perspective, just your overall perspective on the Mike Eckler situation and how you're reading the room from Rule's perspective and also Eckler's perspective, because we've only heard one side of the story.
Yeah. I do think that the opportunity to expand into a defensive coaching role was a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I think he got a taste of that during the bowl game and thought that, he wanted to get back into being more than just a special teams guy. I just don't know if there was a position available for him with what Rule was willing to offer. They tried to counter by giving him an extended deal with probably some more money, but I do think that was a holdup. And then, it's hard not to read into some of Rule's comments where, not only just after Eckler left, but then, going back to, the season where, Eckler's energy is a lot. And so maybe that just wasn't a fit for how Rule wanted to operate, how he wanted the staff to operate. And Eckler's going to be Eckler no matter what. Whoever he works for, he's not changing.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be the same guy and do the same things. And some guys are going to love it, and other guys might, tire of it quickly. And so that may be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that for a fact, but from the outside looking in, the sideline butt slap where Rule basically told him, don't ever slap my butt again during the game.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I don't think it was anything deep rooted, but when it came down to it, maybe the fit wasn't strong enough for Nebraska to bend over backwards and kind of let Eckler do all the things that he wanted to do here. And, that's just kind of the way it works sometimes. And you also got to remember, Mike Eckler, he's jumped around to a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
That's kind of the hit and know now where he doesn't stay in the same place very long. So, that's kind of following the track record there. And USC was going to give him some opportunities, some defensive coaching responsibilities that Nebraska couldn't. And again, sometimes just personal fit plays into a factor as well. But in the end, it's disappointing. I could make a strong case that he's the best coach on that staff last year, and to not keep him is a blow, no matter how you want to draw it up. But if nothing else, rules show that he's kind of like with Fred. He's willing to hire a guy like that, even if they don't have any previous ties. And so the hope is maybe he can find someone that can continue what Mike was able to rebuild in the third element this season.
Yeah. Hey, are you the great stuff, by the way? That's why I asked, because I know you have you got a good perspective on it. I think you're right. You gotta, he wants something. Can you give it to him? Are you willing to bend backwards for him at the same time? They've been willing to hire outside and kind of fix those problems. And that's what they did with Eckler. And, who's to say that they can't do it again? Are you booking your flight to Atlanta for the 2028 Super Bowl with John Harbaugh's New York Giants?
Not yet. For one, I don't know if I could afford a Super Bowl ticket at this rate. Looking at the prices of
Insane.
The national championship game, I can't imagine what Super Bowl prices are going to be. But, it's at least some tangible reasons for optimism. We haven't had that in a while, so hopefully Harbaugh can be the adult in the room and get us back to where we need to be.
The professionals are at MetLife Stadium. Thank God they're not coaching for the Jets. Robin Washut of On3, thank you so much, my man. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, man. Talk to you later.
Yep. Last segment, Middays with Matt here on our Monday edition. Coming up next, going to be a quickie.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt here, closing up shop. Josh, as always, we'll end with our favorite two segments. What to watch for, Dog of the Day. What are we watching tonight,
We're
Mr.
watching
Odson?
the national championship
Hell
game.
yeah, brother.
Miami, Indiana, 6:30, ESPN. No shortage of ways to watch this one. Field Pass with Pat McAfee on ESPN2.
I like this.
The Skycast on ESPN News. ACC Huddle with Bill Belichick on ACC Network.
This is awesome.
Film Room on ESPNU
Jeez.
with Mike Gundy, Dave Clawson, and Gene Chizik commenting on the game as it happens.
That sounds like a nightmare blunt rotation.
And on ESPN Plus, you can watch the marching bands do their thing at halftime. Earlier today in the game of women's college basketball, Ohio State defeated TCU.
We watched that game.
We did. The Coretta Scott King Classic in Newark, New Jersey.
We did. And I made you put the NHL game on.
You did. We'll get to what's on there.
Carolina's kicking physically kicking the crap out of the Sabres.
There's more women's basketball on today. Number 8, Michigan. Number 5, Vanderbilt, 1:30 on Big Fox. And it's followed by number 23, Notre Dame at number 1, UConn at 4 o'clock. Fox having a women's basketball triple header today, and NBA on mostly NBC. It's going on right now on Peacock. Atlanta hosts its annual MLK Day game against the Bucks. 1:30, it'll be Thunder Cavs. Interesting game there. Mavericks Knicks at 4 o'clock on NBC, and then Celtics Pistons at 7 on NBC. NHL doubleheader on TNT right now. Sabres Hurricanes knotted at 1 in the second period, and they'll be followed at 3 o'clock by Capitals Avalanche.
Oh, that'd be a good game.
So
that'd be a really
that's your MLK Day in the NHL.
I'll say this right now: Carolina should be up 3 goals. They are physically imposing their will on the Sabres. The Sabres are doing that thing that average teams do, where they don't set up an offense; they just fire the puck at the net. The problem is that they can't get in the offensive zone, and when they fire the puck on the net, they're missing. It's called bad hockey. Buffalo likes to play it. Dog of the day, bark it up. Charlie Becker of Indiana, the tight end. He's a sophomore. His touchdown prop plus 140. Charlie Becker, the scorer tonight. He's had 4 touchdowns this season.
Whoa.
He's scored 3 of them in the last 5 games. He's also scored on both. Oh, what a save! Oh my God! Oh my God! That is one of the best saves I've ever seen. Look, they flashed up the goal thing because they thought it'd be a goal.
Oh wow!
He saved it. Oh my goodness!
Now that's impressive when you can fool the graphic.
Look at Bussy here. This is insane. Watch this, Josh Hudson. Tick, tack, drop.
Whoa.
Get out of here. That'll be on Sports Center. All right, that's Middays with Matt. Charlie Becker to score a touchdown, plus 140 on 1620 The Zone. The crossover with USC is up next.